we're connected to the Wi-Fi. Yes. Hello, hello, everybody. Let's see. Hi, Will. This is the first thing quite like this I've ever done, so everybody bear with me. We're going to be talking about Diamondback Terrapins tonight. We're still kind of getting some stuff set up here. Hello, hello, everybody. Okay, we got Kamp Kenans. Just to let everybody know, Kayla from Military Morphs is going to be helping to moderate today, so we thank her. She's been great, and she helped with a fundraiser the other night with Jay's ReptaLife, and it went amazing, and he raised over $7,000 for USARK Florida, and that was just an incredible effort, and we thank Jay and Kayla for that. And I'm going to get to everything here. Let's see. So just to start out, we're talking about Diamondback Terrapins. We can hang out for as long as you guys want to hang out. We should have some interesting people joining us at different points. But Diamondback Terrapins face a number of issues here in Florida and across their range. They're specialized turtles. They live in salt or brackish water habitats. So in Florida, that's mangrove swamps in southern Florida, and then salt marshes, and salt marshes across much of their range outside of Florida. And terrapins have always survived by not having competition in the wild. Because they're specialized turtles, they're closely related to the map turtles, and they've actually hybridized in captivity. So they're really closely related to map turtles, but there aren't a lot of other turtles that share their range. And with the terrapins in Florida, we have 5 different subspecies. So we have the most types of terrapins here in Florida of any state. And they face a number of threats in the wild. Probably number one at this time is drowning in crab traps. And also illegal collection for the pet trade certainly happens, and it's certainly a threat. The prices overseas have gone through the roof in the last decade. They want our terrapins, and a few collectors, sometimes poachers, have been willing to supply that, and sometimes they are smuggled all around the world, especially to Asia. And our terrapins in Florida have actually become more valuable than the ones in other parts of the range. The northern Diamondback terrapin, which occurs up most of the east coast of Florida, the east coast of the United States, has the widest range, and it's probably the most common one in captivity. So if you just see kind of a generic Diamondback terrapin somewhere, a lot of times it's going to be a northern Diamondback terrapin. They've been bred for a long time in captivity, and because of that, the price is generally lower when you see them for sale. When we did a price analysis in 2015, the price on northern terrapins was around $50 to $75. I'm sure they go cheaper wholesale in large quantities. There is a legal terrapin breeding program in Maryland that produces tens of thousands of terrapins per year, and most of those are exported to China legally under CITES. So that helps keep the price lower on those terrapins. So in Florida, though, we've had restrictions on terrapins for a long time. In the recent presentation that FWC put out, there was a little bit of misinformation in that they said that terrapins were banned from being bred in 2006. That's actually not true. I think they got that because FWC's online records of their rules only seems to go back to 2006 if you check on their website. But Terrapins have had a possession limit of 2 since the old Game and Freshwater Fish Commission existed in the 90s. So, oh, okay, we've got I got to pay attention to Kayla because she's telling me things to do, and oh wait, how do I let you in, Kayla? Where do I go here? I'm flying by the seat of my pants. Can you hear me, Kayla? We are going to...
You're gonna hit the little camera button that has the plus sign.
Yep.
Should allow me in.
Okay. The little camera with a... Okay, there we go. There we go. I'm going to get to you, Kenan, in just a second here. Let me get some things figured out. Oh, I did it wrong. Did I do it? There she is. There's Kayla, who's helping us out today.
Thanks, everybody. You're gonna hit your little camera button. It's like a little camcorder, so we can see your face too. There we go.
There I am. There I am.
Okay. Phenomenal.
So,
I'm super excited about this. So you know how to bring people on. Yay! I'm going to, I'm just going to show Daniel a few things. So that top, the Diamondback Terrapins, if you hit the title, you can see my name.
yes.
After I leave here, I'm going to pop in where you see like who's watching, those 3 dots on the right. You can actually hit those 3 dots and make someone a moderator. So
Okay.
do that after I leave. And then in the comments, if you scroll back up, where did I type it? Yep, right there. It says donate with a green heart, Cash App, and then your PayPal. So if anyone is able to donate tonight during Daniel's live, please do so. It's either the Cash App or the USARK Florida, the info at usarkflorida.org. So we can keep getting those donations in. If you see that comment there, Daniel, if you hold it, look at you.
There we go.
Awesome. But I'm gonna be in the comments. Just don't forget to hit that title and then just hit the 3 dots, and then I'll be here moderating it for you so we don't have any spammers in the comments. But if
Behave, everybody. Behave.
Yes. If you need me for anything, I'm here tonight. I'm super excited about this. I'm so glad you're here on this live. I keep talking and telling everybody how much work you do for us, Daniel, and just keep it up because we need people like you on the front lines down there in Florida. And we're going to continue doing whatever we have to outside of Florida. I'm all the way up here in Michigan. And we got 36 people here now. You guys, everyone that's here, make sure you go send this live out to spam all your friends because this is some information that we need all hands on deck for, not just for the Diamondback Terrapins, but as a whole for USARK Florida. They need to know that the reptile community here on Instagram is going to be here to support them with every move that they have, that they're not alone.
Well, thank you so much, Kayla. I can't tell you everybody how much Kayla has done to help us in the past couple weeks. We hadn't met until we still haven't met in person, but we had never talked until a couple weeks ago, and she helped Jay with this amazing fundraiser. It raised over $7,000. He spent 24 hours in his lizard cage, and people donated from all over the world. It was incredible, and we thank everybody who donated through that. And we were able to pay our latest legal bill, I heard. So with a variety of sources and donations. So we thank everybody who's supported us. So we're here for reptile keepers, all different kinds of reptile keepers. It's not just, some people think it's just for big snake owners or tegus or one of the prohibited species. This is for all reptiles. We're here for the turtle people. we're here for all animals in Florida. We've been coordinating with the fish folks, with the mammal keepers, with the bird folks, with the invertebrate folks. We're all facing similar issues here in Florida, and it's really scary for those people who make their livelihoods and through animals. And then if you are just a hobbyist, you want to be able to keep your cherished pets that are members of your family. So that's what we're here trying to protect, is your freedom to be able to work with animals in Florida. And we're also trying to become as involved with conservation as we can. We've been working on some gopher tortoise conservation issues. We believe that this Diamondback terrapin proposal is a conservation initiative. Some people have doubted us on that, kind of impugned our motives, but that's always been my motive on this as long as I've worked on this issue, which has been since 2014, before USARK Florida even existed. But it's been great to have the full support of the organization behind this. Why don't we go ahead and let Kenan in here?
See you in the comments here?
Yeah.
Okay. Did
I do it? Go live. There we go. Hey
look at
buddy,
that.
how's it going?
How you guys doing? Hi, Kayla. Hi, Daniel.
Hello, how are you?
Before you take off, I just want to say, yeah, Daniel, this is a job I'm sure you'd rather not do. You'd rather be messing about with your turtles and preparing for what could be a potentially catastrophic hurricane that's heading our way. It's frustrating, but it is much appreciated from me that you've taken on this helm. So I just wanted to say that right off the bat, because having people like you and Kayla and Phil Goss and everyone at USARK in large is a benefit, because it's just it's a bummer with what's going on down here in Florida, and hopefully we can fight the good fight and maintain our animals and our passions that we've been doing for many years down here.
Yeah, and thank you so much for coming on, Kenan. And you've been kind of involved in this process. We had webinars, was that last year? It's all a blur, but we were talking about, first they banned terrapins as pets in Florida, and that came along with also trying to require bycatch reduction devices on crab traps. And what they ended up passing of that was they only required these bycatch reduction devices on recreational crab traps. So what these do is they prevent the terrapins from going into the trap and drowning. But probably about 2/3 of the traps out there are commercial traps. So the commercial crabbers threw a fit. They said this was going to lose them a lot of crabs and lose them their biggest crabs and impact their business. And the commissioners did listen to them. And the commissioners did not pass the requirement for commercial crab traps. So at times they do listen to stakeholder input, for better or worse. That's not something we've observed very much lately. But a little bit of background, back in 2014, I wrote a letter to FWC, and I told them what I was observing in the turtle trade, that some of Florida's native turtles, the price was just skyrocketing. And they were being poached out of Florida, and they were ending up in Asia. I mean, you could see on Facebook pages Florida box turtles and ornate diamondback terrapins, sometimes with barnacles on their shell, ending up in China. So we know that a lot of those are wild turtles.
Right.
And because of this, I proposed that we be allowed to breed these turtles in captivity and help supply the trade and helped impact the prices. We have some awesome turtle breeders here in Florida. Some of them crank out huge numbers of turtles. We've got a farm that produces about 500,000 turtles per year. And then there are many breeders that produce in the thousands per year. So imagine if you unleashed those forces on the terrapin market. Terrapins are turtles that are what we call fecund. That means they're very productive. They lay a lot of eggs. They can lay 3 clutches of eggs per year, sometimes 20 or 10 to 20 eggs, but sometimes even over 20 eggs. So if we were cranking out these turtles, there's no way the prices would stay at what they were. So at the same time, I can't take all the credit for this. Unbeknownst to me, a group of turtle breeders in Florida had also requested the same thing from FWC. So FWC put me on a committee with some other turtle breeders in Florida, and that included Marcus Cantos, Paul Vanderscow, Clive Longden, Wayne Hill, and Sean Heater. And we kind of communicated with the commission and with other turtle breeders in Florida. And we met with FWC. They did talk to us, but it just never really went anywhere. They at least seemed like they were listening, but we just never really convinced them this was an issue. They asked me to do a price analysis on the turtles in Florida. So I did this, and I'm going to read you the prices of terrapins that I came up with. These are the subspecies of terrapins that occur in Florida, and these were the prices in 2015. Carolina Diamondback terrapin was average of $213. Mississippi Diamondback terrapin was an average of $228. Florida East Coast Diamondback terrapin was an average of $425. Ornate Diamondback terrapin was average of $1,420, $1,420. And then I didn't find any listings like on price lists or anything like that, but the mangrove Diamondback terrapins, which are endemic to far southern Florida, were rumored to be selling for $5,000 to $10,000. And not too long ago, Jordan Gray with the TSA confirmed that, yes, they were selling for $10,000 when I talked to him. So you can see that if the prices are that high, no matter what the law is, somebody's going to try to collect these and sell them if there are not enough captive bred animals. So FWC's response to that instead has been to say, well, now we're not going to allow you to keep pets. So we were allowed to keep 2 per person, but now they're saying they reduced the possession limit to 0. They didn't want to call it a ban, but that's what they told me. That's a ban when you reduce the possession limit to 0.
Right.
So that is their answer for this problem. It's a law enforcement solution, and law enforcement can be part of the solution, but just like we know with the war on drugs or anything like that, when you have prohibition on a product and you only have a law enforcement solution, you may put some people out of business and make some busts, but if it's worth a lot of money, somebody's going to step in to fill that role to make that money.
Yeah, they're called criminals, and criminals are never going to follow the law. What you're essentially doing is you're taking away the good actors. You're getting the good keepers out of the equation. It does nothing, 0, to really combat this issue, because they're still going to have a law enforcement problem. There's still going to be animals, as you mentioned, getting taken from the wild. It's a no-brainer. I mean, I don't understand how they would go through the motions and including you in this process only to jettison any kind of things that, USARK or frankly, there are people from the aquaculture side of things that have also tried to, really back the keepers here in Florida. And it really is a conservation issue. And, there will be literature and there'll be things that are presented that say that there's no conservation value to this, which is completely false. For many, many years, I've been involved with the Turtle Survival Alliance. And that is essentially a collaboration of zoo professionals, conservation biologists, and private keepers like yourself and myself. And, we had to meet certain criteria in order to become a member. And the goal is to breed these animals in captivity, because as we know, turtles and tortoises of all species, as a air-breathing vertebrate, they are the #1 air-breathing vertebrate facing extinction. So to say that captive breeding is not going to help Diamondback terrapins or turtles in large. It's frankly, it is not very, it makes zero sense to me.
Yeah. Well, what's happened since then, since we did that price analysis in 2015, just last year, a researcher from Hong Kong, I hope I'm not saying his name wrong, but Dr. Yik Hai Sung presented a paper where he documented the price of ornate diamondback terrapins coming into Hong Kong as $2,608 on average. So the price has only gone up since we made, law enforcement has cracked down, but the price has only gone up. And so in the top 4 turtles that were being imported into Hong Kong were the ornate diamondback terrapin, the Florida box turtle, and the Florida snapping turtle. The Florida box turtle, the average price was $1,007. The maximum price was $4,103 on those. And the Florida snapping turtle, the average price was $937, and the maximum price was $12,821. And if you wonder how it gets up to that, a few years ago there was this huge spike in prices of Florida snapping turtles, where the Chinese were paying $65 per pound. So think of a 10-pound snapper is then, which is a very average size snapper, is then a $650 turtle.
Incredible.
And it just so happens that happened not that long after Florida snappers were kind of semi-protected in Florida because of similarity of appearance to alligator snappers.
Yeah.
So you can see that. So of the top 4 turtles going into Hong Kong, the only one that wasn't a Florida turtle was the wood turtle, the North American wood turtle. The other 3 were Florida turtles that are endemic or nearly endemic to Florida and all receive some level of protection. And yes, there are people breeding them out there, but the whole point is there has never been enough. And we do have people outside of Florida working with ornate terrapins and other subspecies of terrapins. But we're saying if you unleashed our farms, our industrial ability here in Florida on this issue, there's no way that the ornate terrapin would stay a $2,600 turtle.
Right. And it would make it, and it's true, I stand behind this, that it would be true, that it would make no sense to risk being caught poaching when most people, certainly in the United States, we've done a good job as the reptile keepers in the United States to really preach captive bred. Early on in the 60s and 70s, most animals were imports. But now that we have those foundation animals, those animals are now multiple generations in captivity, and we're able to supply that pet trade just with captive animals. I preach it on my channel that we should really not ever take animals out of the wild. Now, that being said, what you've done, if you allow the breeders in Florida to produce these animals, they'll produce them. Look, you're going to produce them because you really enjoy the species. The byproduct, that you wouldn't care if you made $20 or $70, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's the joy of doing it and the joy of knowing.
Yeah, I breed stink pots. I'm a mud and musk turtle guy. That's not a high dollar turtle, but I love them. They're tiny, cute, little, amazing turtles. So I keep them because I like them. It's not about the money. There'll
be professional biologists and conservationists. I have a visitor here. This dog, Lobo. Sorry, making noise, but. There'll be people that'll say there's no conservation value to what's going on, but in my opinion, we're losing wild habitat through real estate development. You want to talk about big bucks? That's what it's all about. They're gonna lose habitat. So, in my opinion, more diamondback terrapins on Earth is a good thing. Extinct is a bad thing. So, I would rather be alive in captivity than extinct.
Absolutely. We should want these species to continue to exist. That FWC's projections on sea level rise show the entire range of the mangrove terrapin and Florida East terrapin going underwater in 70 to 100 years. So should the answer to that be to not allow breeding of those species? That's inconceivable. And those are two subspecies that have the least numbers in captivity of all of the subspecies.
You know, in the past, a hands-off approach to conservation was what was kind of preached. Just got to let nature take its course. But the problem is that human beings, we are victims of our own success. We've multiplied, as we know, there's almost 9 billion of us on Earth. The time to be hands-off, is now. I mean, you have to have private keepers like us who have a passion for these animals to get involved. And that's all that is really being asked here, but it's falling on deaf ears, sadly. And, it seems like some people in the conservation realm are, actively stymieing some of that momentum, that we're trying to create for the privates, which is, it's frustrating because really quickly, I'm a kid that loved reptiles, dinosaurs, the whole 9 yards, went about and had a totally different career. I was a professional athlete, bike rider, and then went into broadcasting, but always kept reptiles, always. And came to Florida because I moved here in 2004 because my animals could live a healthier life out here in the sun, and got involved with the folks at different zoological institutions, with the TSA, and even FWC. I've been able to help Florida Fish and Wildlife law enforcement when they have large confiscations. They'll have something called chain of custody. If someone's animals get taken, well, FWC doesn't know how to take care of them. So they've asked me, and I've held hundreds of animals for them, for the commission. And I'm a private. As a matter of fact, last week, I got a call from the local section chief here asking me would I be able to take a green iguana. And I had to say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not permitted to take one.
Yeah.
So it's just bizarre. So why I bring that up, Daniel, is, I am not an academic. I am a self-taught enthusiast that has kind of transcended, just being a collector. I really do enjoy helping zoological institutions. I've got, 3 Batagura finis from 3 different zoological institutions because where they were, the animals weren't able to keep them healthy. They were having skin problems, and so they bring them down here, and guess what? Just add mud, and skin problems go away. These are little things that private keepers, know about. It's going to take a consortium, a brain trust of different people. You got the hardcore conservationists, you got guys like you and I, you got, your zoo professionals, all of us working in league, and that's why I really did enjoy working with the Turtle Survival Alliance. So it's frustrating because I personally, I don't keep Diamondback terrapins, but the big concern I have is that Diamondback terrapins, number one, are going to be more imperiled. Number two, the big concern I have, as we have been seeing in the last few years, is that they're not going to stop with Diamondback terrapins. They're going to say, guess what? No more cooters. No more, I got my permits for my gator snappers. Okay. But they're going to just, they're just Xing everything out, and that can't be the solution. All this information we possess on how to breed and how to rear the young, and, hell, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I was asked by the WCS to go to Colombia to use my reach as a YouTuber, okay, to get out there and do a human interest piece about this local village that is working with, and you guys are gonna have to forgive me. I forget the exact podoc species. It's a river turtle. It's coming to me. It's a little. Oh gosh, I'll have to look it up. But it's a river turtle in Colombia, in a very far away village in Colombia, right? So, and I tell the story because this is the power of using the private sector and what we can do for conservation. So, asked by the WCS to go to Colombia, and I say, I'll do you one better. Can you send me what the facilities look like that you're trying to rear these animals in? And I have the emails, I have the photos. They're concrete vats that they want to raise these, imperiled and endangered turtles in. Now, they want to raise them to re-release them. Now, in my opinion, if you're a baby turtle, you want security, you want to, I want these animals to be raised in a way that's going to provide them with the best success possible to evade capture, to hide, to blend in with their surroundings. So I said, listen, I've got this incredible relationship with the guys at Aquascape. I will call them and see if they'd be interested. They've worked in Colombia before. They've worked in Africa. These guys logistically can make things happen. Well, we had thousands of dollars of pond equipment, from liner, pumps, lighting, everything that these folks manufacture was sent. And logistically, it's very difficult to get things to Colombia, and especially to this very remote region. We intend to build them a large like pond that will house some adults, but naturalized. Okay, they want to create an eco lodge, and so we were like, well, let's create a beautiful water feature that your guests can just hang out by, and then see these animals in a more naturalistic area, because it's going to be hard to see them on the river.
Yeah.
Okay. So we did that. And we'll go one further. I want to provide you guys with really beautiful hatchling rearing, and that, listen, for me to help an organization like the WCS or the TSA or anything, makes me feel good that I'm able to pull different industry leaders together in the name of conservation. It's all that I've ever dreamed of doing. But
that's awesome. Can I ask you a question real quick about what you were doing? Wasn't this a private entity that was breeding turtles for release into the wild?
I am not, listen, I'm not 100% sure, but it is the village. It is not, this was not, to my knowledge, a sanction by, a Colombian AZA equivalent. This was a village. And I think, and I don't want to speak out of turn, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe the WCS's job is to locate and identify projects that have promise.
Yeah.
So here were people that hunted these animals who have switched it. They've turned it around, and they want to now catch the animals, rear them, raise them, hatch the eggs, and then get the babies, head start them and get them back out. But I know where you're going. It's private individuals. How come we can do this in Colombia, okay, where resources are incredibly difficult?
Yeah. I've got another Colombia story with dart frogs coming up too. I'm going to talk about.
Right. There's been
it's
a lot
being
of
done in multiple.
Right.
Hold on, Kayla wanted to get in here.
I wanted to say, DanTheTurtleman, he requested to join. I asked Brass if he could come on, Jeremy if he could come on. I'm going to hop out really quick just so you guys can keep going. I'm in the comments if you need me for support. I just know those two guys jumped in, and I know DanTheTurtleman is super excited to join. So I'll be looking forward to that. Thank you, Kenan, for everything. It's amazing. I'm glad I can help a little bit that what I can. I'm from Michigan. I'm way up here. So
cool turtles in Michigan.
Got some blanding turtles up there.
Blandings, wood turtles, spotted turtles, box turtles.
Snappers.
Yeah. I'm all about it. I love my snappers. I'm so excited. I love my snappers. But I'm going to let you guys get to it. Daniel, I'm here for you if you need me. I can't wait to hear DanTheTurtleman too.
Is that comment still pinned with the Cash App and all that?
It is.
Yes.
Okay, I just don't see it. Okay, people are telling me I need to answer some questions. I'll answer.
I can't stay on too much longer. It is Saturday night, and I have family time that I have to be responsible for. I do have a family of human beings also.
Well, let's bring Dan on with you for just a little bit,
Sure.
so I can get you guys together. Kind of a meeting of some titans here.
I may have met DanTheTurtleman before on my own Instagram. Let's see. I think I know who this gentleman is.
You're good, Daniel, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I just have to kick you off, or you have to leave.
I'm going to leave. I was just going to say, just make myself, and then if you can, Cirkin Exotics, she just put something right there as well. She covers my 6 when I miss something. So if you want us two to be moderators, we'll be glad to help you. All right.
Okay. Awesome.
Bye now, guys. Enjoy. It was nice talking with you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. I'm going to add Dan here. Here we go. I met Dan at Animal Con for the first time. Did I get you? Oh, here he is. Here he is.
Dan.
Hey, yes, sir. Yeah, 2 years ago when I built my pond and at Ty Park's place at Iguana.
That's right.
Like 3 years ago, something like that. Good to see you again, Daniel, as well. I saw you was it 3 weeks ago, something like that?
So Dan, you breed a lot of Terrapins, or you breed Terrapins anyway.
Yeah.
What kind of scale is your Terrapin breeding where you're at?
Small,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter because if you take care of your animals, you give them, the opportunity to be happy. It's water quality for me is the number one thing. I had one ornate Diamondback Terrapin female that I just got earlier this year, and I brought her home and I put her in my pond, and she proceeded to lay 3 clutches of 8 eggs each. And so that one female had 24 babies from one. Not only that, I have 2 other females, 3 total, but one other, she laid, how many was it? 8, a clutch of 8. This is a northern concentric. She laid a clutch of 8. And then 3 weeks later, another clutch of 8. I mean, it's 16 turtles from just one, 24 from the other. You don't really need, as you were talking about, highly fecund. You really don't need a big enclosure or anything crazy like that, or hundreds of animals.
Yeah,
producing a lot of Terrapins.
And the thing with Terrapins is they're really almost like breeding sliders. They're not like one of these species that takes years and years. They can mature sometimes in 3 years. And
the earliest is 2 even.
Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. So this is something that could happen rapidly.
Yeah,
and
it's a shame.
Yeah, go ahead, Kenan.
No, I'm just saying it's incredible because I'm sitting here thinking, we're not even talking about trying to breed animals to re-release them. We're truly, aren't we? Just truly, the goal is just to lessen the impact on the wild take of these animals, because when you're breeding animals that you want to release again, there's a lot that goes into that with bloodlines and stud books and all of this, and that may be out of range for most privates keeping those kind of records. But just hearing Dan, are you from the Carolinas or something?
I'm in South Carolina.
Yeah, and it's it's incredible because the value of having guys like Dan partake in this and be able to have captive raised babies is so important. Again, I have to circle back to what the Turtle Survival Alliance has done. And, if I produced, we had temple turtles here, Hyremes and Adeline, that were flown out of Hong Kong. These animals arrived. Jacksonville Zoo got some. I got some. They arrived in horrendous condition. They weren't even looked at by a vet. Sadly, most of those animals died from just the stress of being in the food markets and then flying all the way across the planet and then finding themselves in Florida. But the happy news is that I was able to get 3-4 eggs, and we had some babies hatched that I promptly gave back to the TSA. Now, the way they did it is half would go to me, half would go to them, but I was just like, take them all, let these become an assurance population here in the United States. Those animals are now 12 years old. But again, having these animals bred in captivity will absolutely, with the current knowledge of keepers, at least in this country, no one wants to get wild caught animals because they know they're doing the animals a disservice. Reptile keepers are some of the most educated and definitely they can be sometimes very there's a word that's here that's on the tip of my tongue that I can't recall, but they're very involved and they know so much about the animals they keep that they want to do the right thing. So how do we go about, Daniel? How do we go about letting Fish and Wildlife know that this is a viable option?
Well, what we did is and I consulted some of you guys on this. USARK Florida, we kind of formed a Terrapin committee, and we created a proposal. I've got it right here. We use science. We described the issues that we believe turtles are being poached, that they're being the value's very high, and we believe we could help supply that with captive bred animals. And then we described how that could be done. And we were just talking about how fecund these turtles are, how productive they are. So we gave some of those numbers, and then also described that if we're producing, it wouldn't take that many breeders to be producing literally tens of thousands of these. FWC has also had a concern, always had a concern with us taking turtles out of the wild. That's not something that we asked to do. There are terrapins in captivity. We recognize that. We could get them from out of state. We'll even only take in juveniles if that would make them happy. We'd be happy to document these with photographs. I have some terrapins I'm going to show you a little later. I've got some terrapins with me. I have a permit for education through FWC. We have to document the patterns with photographs. So every terrapin has a kind of a unique pattern. So we were willing to jump through some hoops to document what the turtles look like and make sure that wild turtles couldn't be laundered as captive bred animals. That was a concern we tried to address. And unfortunately, that's one they're still trying to hit us up over the head with and saying that we're going to use this to launder turtles, or this program will be used to launder turtles. So I did the price analysis I showed you earlier. We talked about what the prices were in 2015 and what they got to be just recently. And then we also compared examples of these other Florida turtles, Florida box turtle and Florida snapper that we just talked about earlier. And we found where scientists have agreed with this idea. And so the alligator snapper, which was petitioned for federal listing, in a U.S. Fish and Wildlife document, I'm going to read this to you. I hope this isn't too boring, but this is a document proposing federal listing of the alligator snapper. It says, farm-raised turtles supplement the demand for domestic pet trade and international trade. Turtles for meat consumption and the pet trade, which may alleviate harvest pressure on wild individuals. State-authorized captive farming and breeding programs. The service recognizes that turtle farming can alleviate harvest of wild stock and provides a means to serve the international markets without affecting wild populations in the future. Therefore, state-authorized farming operations using captive brood stock or otherwise legally acquired turtles prior to the listing of this species would be accepted. So that's the U.S. Fish and Wildlife is literally describing exactly what we want to do with terrapins. And unfortunately, our FWC staff doesn't agree with what the U.S. Fish and Wildlife biologists are saying about markets. And in fact, they're saying that just us selling these turtles will increase the value and make prices go up, which I don't know what economics they're using to get there. We actually consulted an economist on this also. And I gave a presentation at IHS, International Herpetological Symposium, a few months ago. And we have a master's economist who's working on her PhD that has some input into this. And she agrees with everything that we said in our proposal from an economic standpoint. So that's kind of what we gave them. And we also brought up examples of turtles that this has already had an impact. I don't know if you guys know anything about the Vietnamese pond turtle, Maramis anamensis or Ananemes anamensis.
Oh, yeah.
This is a turtle that not too long ago, it's virtually extinct in the wild. And just a few years ago, they were selling for thousands of dollars, sometimes $2,000 or $3,000. I think Mark Cantos told me the other day it's like a $25 turtle now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So here's a turtle that's virtually extinct in the wild, but unfortunately there aren't many left, but at least there are some in captivity if they wanted to reintroduce these. So in that case, there would be no reason to continue to poach them out of the wild when it's a $25 turtle. Most people aren't going to take that risk. They're not going to go through the effort. And with terrapins, it's not that easy to collect terrapins in Florida, at least. There are places where people use methods sometimes. In Florida, there are places that have a lot of terrapins, but sometimes it requires special conditions, special methods. So not that they can't be collected, they are being collected, but it has to be worth it for somebody. And if it's a $25 turtle, people are much less likely to take this big effort to go into a mangrove swamp or a salt marsh and take this risk of getting caught.
Correct. Yeah. It becomes not worth it. I mean, I went herping down in the Keys to just go see what their habitat was like and whatnot. And man, it is, I mean, just swamp, climbing over mangroves, all different kinds of things, mud, and it's, you know, and not only that, but their argument of laundering the animals doesn't make sense to me as well, because you can tell a wild caught animal like that. You know, I'm scrolling the classified sometimes, and there was recently a lot of Pileata, the Mississippi terrapins, a whole bunch of males. And you just immediately you can tell their shells are just a little too perfect. They have a little bit of a look to them that you can tell that they're wild caught. And not only that, good luck if you would like to launder Diamondback terrapin babies. Good luck. Go out and find them. You will not be able to find them. They are extraordinarily, you know, they just hide. You will not be able to find them. It is not feasible. That's why I always say it's easier to breed them, to, you know, have some, you know, purchase some adults or hatchlings even, wait a few years.
Yeah, 2 to 3 years. If you can raise them up in 2 to 3 years, why not buy a pile of babies?
So that's what happened with mine. I mean, I had been raising, they just happened to be a male and a female. And especially when you raise a male and a female together, they are kind of paired. I built my pond, that was 2 years ago, and both of them were only 3 years old. And sure enough, 2 months later, after on the camera, I saw one of my females go up at 2 a.m. And 2 months later, a big old rainstorm, I'm finding little terrapins everywhere.
Let me stop you right there. I think we have somebody else coming on that can only come on for a minute. So I'm going to have to kick somebody off real quick.
I have to go,
So Kenan, thank you so much for coming. Thanks for your support. And we're going to keep working on this. We actually got a reprieve with the hurricane, so this is going to be delayed, and we're going to have a little more time. And hopefully FWC will come back to us with something a little more, how can I even say it diplomatically?
Maybe diplomatic. They'll come back with something more diplomatic.
A little more diplomatic, because what they just presented was not at all.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Keep up the good fight. Thanks for your hard work. Good seeing you, Turtle Man. Dan?
Always a pleasure.
Dan the Turtle Man. Sorry.
Whatever floats your boat.
I inverted it. Take care, guys.
Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, Kenan. All right. Hold on just a second. Let me see who else I got here.
Cool.
I got Okay, I see you, Michael. I can only have 3 total here at a time. So I'm going to bring in Phil because I know he's at the auction in at Arlington right now. So we're going to bring on Phil Goss, the president of USARK, and USARK National is awesome. They support us all the time. Phil and I, we're talking all the time and working on these issues, and we can't thank them enough for all the support they provide. So how you doing, Phil? Phil, can you hear me?
He can. He's putting up a finger. I think he's
I see.
in the middle of.
When Phil puts up a finger, you better pay attention.
Yeah, I mean,
We just get to observe Phil strutting in all his glory here, silently. Oh, I see. Is that Russ there? He's bringing us live here at Arlington, it looks like.
Oh, fantastic.
The NIRBC show's going on, and
yes.
USARK is having an auction tonight.
Good. Excellent.
Which finger, Brassman says. It was the diplomatic finger. That's the word we're using, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's I was all ready to move to Florida and whatnot. Oh boy, are we getting introduced?
Oh. Yeah. What did they say though? I heard that there was a big unified message.
We can play it back later. I'm not entirely sure. I've said it before 100 times. I've said, if because there was the meetings earlier in the year where FWC was listening to different people's public input, and I had said, because there was a lot of pushback from some civilians, normal people, and I had said, I think that there's a little bit of a disagreement that me personally, at least, and most terrapin keepers want the best for the animals. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. If I was told you can save the species, but you have to give up all your animals, done and done.
Yeah. It would be enough for me to just see them in the wild, but I want to continue to be able to see them in the wild. I don't want them to disappear in the wild and then never see them ever again because they're gone.
Agreed. Absolutely.
Phil is in a dark alley. I hope he doesn't get mugged here.
No, hey, everybody.
There you are.
I'm going to be brief. So I'm at NARBC, Texas, Arlington. So that's what the audience was. We're having an auction right now. So I wanted everyone on here to know that Texas reptile keepers support this movement to breed Diamondback Terrapins. And thank you, everybody, for watching, because I don't know if everyone watching has had time to look at this FWC presentation yet, but it's honestly, it's a...
upsetting.
I'm trying to be as politically correct as possible, but it totally defies science. This is not science. There's nothing about this that is scientific. They found this study from some foreign country and made it an example of what captive breeders do. And there are so many examples just in the U.S. of people breeding Diamondback Terrapins and releasing these animals. I mean, they could have spent 30 seconds and found one of those examples of successful projects in the U.S. Instead, they probably spent hours to find this one example from some random foreign country, and they chose that. And it's really unfortunate. I know in the scientific world, for any scientist on there, you get this saying of garbage in, garbage out. Unfortunately, that's what this FWC presentation is. It's not scientific. It's biased. It's a propaganda hit piece, and it really is a shame that we have to deal with this now. And again, I would on it, like a lot of people on this who have spoken already. I know I saw some people on earlier. I'm trying to keep up all the auctions going on. Obviously, we would like to say some other things, and all we want to see is a fair presentation from FWC. Honestly, the commissioners cannot make an informed and educated decision after they see that presentation, because that presentation does not tell both sides of the story. It tells one side. It shows the cherry-picked stuff that they chose to sell, and honestly, it's a shame to see an a government agency that should be based on science presenting something like that. And I'm sure some people have already mirrored that message already tonight, and I appreciate everyone watching. Please support USARK Florida. I'll stay out here for about another minute and listen to you guys. I got to hop back in and make sure Brian Potter doesn't get out of control at the auction, but I'll let someone else talk now.
Well, Phil, You know what? One thing that was so disappointing about the FWC presentation, and for those of you who are just joining us, we were going to have an FWC meeting this week where they were going to discuss the captive breeding of Diamondback Terrapins, which the commissioners asked them to do. We've been waiting for 9 months, and they released this presentation just a couple days ago, and I don't know what to say. I'm trying not to be really, it made me angry. It made all of us angry. And it was supposed to be in response to our request to breed Diamondback Terrapins. They didn't mention any details from our proposal. They have a bunch of pictures of turtles being smuggled and shipped in cruel ways, and they insinuated that this is how the turtle trade works. And they kind of insinuated that turtle breeders, this is who we are. We're people that tape turtles up in duct tape and pile them up. And they showed all these horrible pictures, and we're not debating that this goes on. We're against that. That's the whole point of this. We don't want turtles to be smuggled. We don't want them to be poached. We're the ones who are trying to fight this. So for them to come back and insinuate that we're the people trying to do that, it was just offensive. It really was. And I was told by an FWC staff person who's communicated with us just a tiny bit on this. He told me that this presentation, these are his exact words, would be fair and balanced. What do you think of that, Phil?
No, I absolutely disagree. Again, I've seen this stuff. I work on these issues across the country. USARK Florida's doing an awesome job. Daniel's doing an awesome job. And, you know, we don't want to call FWC out, but when you see something like this, I mean, it is so hard to hold back words because, again, there was nothing unbiased about this. It was totally biased. They cherry picked what they want to show the commissioners. And again, what FWC and staff should do is give the commissioners a fair and balanced presentation. And then even if FWC staff did not want to allow the commercial breeding of Diamondback Terrapins, at least they presented a fair and unbiased presentation to the commissioners and let the commissioners make their own decision. That is not happening, not one single bit with this presentation.
Yeah, and this presentation, just to let everybody know, is 60 slides. So it's probably going to take them over an hour to present. Just lambasting us. We get 3 minutes per person to comment, unless there are a lot of people, and then they'll reduce it to like 2 minutes. So they get a PowerPoint, big visual aids, and it's not representative at all of what we proposed to them, which was really a good faith effort to work with them. And so then for that, go ahead, Dan.
Well, I understand that there's been multiple different attempts at this, not just you guys, but there's a few biologists that sort of are on like our side, and I hate the division of us against them. You know, I'm all for the coalition of everyone to work together, but when it's being so one-sided and they're cherry picking things and, you know, like you said with the alligator snapping turtles, they're just blatantly disregarding their own words. There's not much else you can do. I know Chris Leakowitz and Jordan Danini, they both work with Terrapins in Florida in the wild. The two of them came up with a beautiful proposal. Because I'd spoken to Chris many times. This is because I wanted to move to Florida and I wanted to create a conservation center for Diamondback Terrapins. I wanted that to be the hub for them. There's 5 subspecies. I want to be in the state where they are most common. Mm-hmm. And regardless, they said that they have been shot down every single time.
And just to clarify, those are 2 of Florida's top terrapin biologists have proposed captive breeding.
Correct.
So,
correct.
You know,
yes.
I don't know. You know, there were no terrapin specialists involved in the creation of the FWC presentation. So let's, Phil. I know you're going to have to go here. I saw that there are a number of people we want to get on here. Adeline Robinson, I think, is where you are, Phil, and she's in the chat. Adeline, if you want to come on, I'd like to get you on because you might have limited time also, and I want to talk about your design that you did for us. So, yeah. Phil, do you have anything else?
Me in the hallway out here.
Yeah, or just go see Phil, Adeline. But yeah, if you send a request to join, Adeline, I'd love to get you on here while you're available.
If you have other people as well, I can pop off. It's not a problem.
Yeah, we have some other people waiting. But actually, why don't I go ahead and say goodbye to both of you, and we'll kind of transition. But
Yes,
Phil, thanks so much for joining us. I know you're busy tonight, and I can't tell you all the support that USARK National gives USARK Florida, and we work together all the time, and it's awesome. And Dan, we gotta hang out. You know, we've gotten to talk a little bit, and you're a fun guy, and you passionate about turtles, and I really appreciate that. So,
Hey, hang on. Don't kick me off yet, Daniel. I got somebody.
oh, okay.
I'll go. I'll head out. Thank you so much, Daniel. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Dan. Hey, there's Adeline right there.
Hey, I was downstairs. Sorry, I didn't know how to join. So
No, that's okay. Well, we got you on here. So I've got the camera too close to me here. I'm gonna mess something up, but I'll stand up here. So it will look better on you guys than me, folks. But this is our new Diamondback Terrapin logo that was created by Adeline, and people just love this. Everybody's response to this has been just love for it, Adeline. So she did this out of the goodness of her heart, and our friend Ed Kamar Jr. kind of helped facilitate that a little bit. But I should tell you guys that we have these for sale, and they're going to be $30 shipped if you want them. Our Cash App's there. I can show them to you. We have them in the aqua, and we have them in gray. So whichever you prefer. So there's the gray. So two options there. So if you want a shirt, send us a payment and send your shipping information. Let me let you talk, Adeline, because you probably need to go. But thank you so much. What do you have to say about this?
no, I appreciate everything you guys do, both you and Phil. And I wouldn't be able to do what I do. None of us would be able to be here without all the hard work that you guys do. So it's like I want to do everything I can to be able to help support that because I appreciate it, and I personally feel like it's a privilege and an honor to be able to be in this community. Because without you guys being up there on the front lines, none of this would exist. You know, with the amount of adversity and the amount of things being snuck into bills and everything thrown at us, you know, you guys are seriously on the front lines. So I really appreciate it, and I want to help as much as I can.
Well, you've definitely helped, and you're so talented. I mean, if you guys have not seen her work, you need to check out all of her work. She does amazing art. I just went to TikisGeckos the other day, and he had your stuff hanging up all over the walls. So that's how everybody's herp room should be. You should have Adeline's work because it's outstanding. So thanks so much for all you've done for us, Adeline.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, it's great to see you.
Good to see you too. See you guys.
Thank you.
Are you bringing somebody else on, Daniel?
I will be, but if you want to say something else,
No, I'll
go ahead.
Again, everybody, the messaging's pretty simple. I mean, USARK Florida will help you with that, and they'll give you email addresses. But again, all we want people to ask for is for the commissioners to request that staff give them a fair and unbiased presentation, because again, that's the with anything unbiased. So again, a fair, unbiased, and scientific, because what they're giving them is not scientific. And something I forgot to say earlier, Daniel, we're seeing all kinds of media articles and bona fide conservation groups who are saying that these traditional attempts to conserve species does not work. We're seeing it across the country. We're seeing bans on box turtles and Diamondback terrapins. When all you do is a ban, it does not work because it raises the price of these animals going overseas. Again, these traditional bans and traditional conservation don't work. So we need to step forward. We need to modernize some of these regulations, and that's what FWC needs to do here. They need to recognize that, you know, commercial breeding of these animals is conservation. And if someone with a license is doing something illegal, bust them. I mean, they're giving you access to their facility. It's going to be so easy to catch people who are doing illegal things if you allow commercialization of these animals, because if someone even has Diamondback terrapins who doesn't have a license, that's going to be illegal to start with. So you're going to be able to bust them right off the bat, and you're going to be able to do inspections on the people who do have licenses, so you can go in and see if they have wild caught animals. Again, it's hard for me to fathom how FWC can present the presentation they're going to give, because again, it's a propaganda hit piece, and I hope they come up with something different before the meeting, because next week has been canceled. So everyone out there who's following USARK Florida, thanks. Please contact the commissioners, and let's make a change to this stop to commercial breeding at Diamondback Terrapins. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks,
Great
Daniel.
to see you.
Yep. Bye.
All right, we're gonna say bye to Phil, and I'm gonna get some of you other guys on here. One more while I got the full screen. Oh, look at that! You can actually see the whole screen here. But while I got everybody else kicked off again, if you want a shirt, our Cash App's there. They're $30 shipped. If you see us in person, they're $25. But if you send us payment for that, just be sure to include your name and shipping address, phone number, and email address, and we'll get those out to you. So, and also, if you just want to make a donation, we can use all the help we can get, even if you don't want a shirt. If you want to make a small donation, $5, $10, anything, it would help us tremendously. So, all right, let's see. I'm going to have Jeremy, I'm going to bring you on in just a second. I've got our president and one of our USARK Florida board members, Michael Cole. I'm going to bring them on really quick, and then we'll continue. So I'm sorry. Thank you, Jeremy and Greg, and all. I know we have people waiting, and I appreciate all of your patience, but I hope you're enjoying the discussion, because it's been really interesting. So we're bringing Elizabeth on, and we're bringing Michael Cole on. So these are both USARK Florida board members. Elizabeth is our president. I call her our fearless leader. Oh, Michael, you got your Terrapin shirt on, so we match. Look at that.
Yeah. Joining.
Well, thank you for joining us. So, is this a first on Instagram for you, Michael?
Absolutely.
Well, I got you on one of our videos, but you're doing it on your own here. So
yeah, it's kind of technology is not my friend, but I happened to make it tonight. I heard this was kind of important. Well, I knew it was important. I've been involved in this with you for a while, and this is one of those things. Everything we're doing here in Florida is important, as Elizabeth will, I'm sure, say here in a few minutes. But the conservation of our native species is, one of the biggest things that we can do as Floridians. And to see the agency who's actually supposed to be the ones doing that, shoot this down is really disheartening. And we're being diplomatic, so I'm going to try to be as much as possible. But
that's why Elizabeth's here. She will give you a virtual slap.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it, safe. But, when I read that, I sat in my room. My wife was trying to talk to me. I was short with her. I was, right from the get-go, it was offensive. It was disgusting. And, I've been in this business for a long time. I know a lot of other really good herpers in this community of reptile people, especially here in Florida, that really love what they do, are very passionate about what they do. And the slap across the face, it wasn't even, it was a baseball across the face, a baseball bat across the face, as I was reading that presentation. And it just, it really saddens me. This was a great opportunity for FWC to, show that they weren't biased, to show that they weren't out just to put reptile keepers out of business, reptile keepers out of the industry, reptile keepers take their animals and pets away, because it seems like that's what they've been doing. And instead of doing the right thing, they doubled down on stupidity. And it just, honestly, just really upsets me.
Yeah, we had a conversation the other night right after this came out, and we were both just, Michael and I both worked a lot on this proposal. He's on our Terrapin committee, and after all the work we did, and we really came to them in good faith, I felt like, and tried to do something positive. and we didn't get a good faith response back. That's for sure.
Yeah.
What, Elizabeth? Good to see you. We've been doing a lot of these lately.
Good to see everybody tonight. And guys, thank you for taking your time out tonight to be on this Instagram Live. Everybody that's joined, it means so much to all of us to see that kind of support. But what I need you guys to do now is not only take your time tonight, but over the next couple of weeks, take the time and email the commissioners. Everybody, I don't care where you're from at this point. Let them know just how bad this is. Let them know. Read that. Read the presentation. Let it all sink in for a few minutes. When you read this, you'll be going, what in the world? Where are they coming from? This is absolutely ridiculous. And once you do, email the commission. Don't go to FWC. Use your voice. Let your voice be heard. We need you to help us help you. We can't do this alone. And if we unite together, our voices will be heard. But when they only hear the same 9 or 10 of us every single month, and every single time we complain, it falls on deaf ears. Guys, I can't stress it enough. You've heard Phil, you've heard Michael. We're all on the same page. We are trying to be diplomatic, and I know the guys, it's really hard for them, and it's hard for me. Michael and I have been friends for a very, very long time. He knows doggone good and well I don't hold my tongue well at all, do you, Michael? And this position's been very difficult because we have to be diplomatic. We have to be that person that tries to work with them, and it's so difficult for us. You have no idea. We spent a tremendous amount of time, money, and effort on that program. You know, that whole presentation. And Daniel presented it. It's gorgeous. And if you guys want it, email Daniel. He'll share it with everybody. This is not anything.
Or send us a message, an Instagram message to our USARK Florida Instagram account, and I can get you it's also linked in some of our posts if you actually read the descriptions. But yeah, we'll get it to you.
We've shared see what we've been working on. We're not just sitting back doing nothing. We've worked with a tremendous amount of people, and it's not just our opinions. We went to science, we went to truth. And like they said, if we ban something, it's only going to make it worse. We're going to lose our future for the next generations. That's what we're going to lose. And this isn't fair. The next generations, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, they deserve a right to have these animals. They deserve a right to enjoy them in, whether it's in nature or if it's in captivity. If it's done properly, let them get the permit. Let them do everything. The CSP program, Michael, you know, everybody complains, oh my gosh, the CSP program, can you believe all the paperwork we have to do? It's the most stringent program in the whole U.S. Zoos don't even have to comply with what we have to comply with. And yet FWC says it's not good enough. Guys, we are fighting a battle for you. Help us. It's time to step up. It's time to unite.
Amen, Elizabeth.
And people have asked, what can I do if I'm not in Florida? To be pretty blunt, actually, if you can just donate, send money, that's probably the best way you can help us from outside the state. I mean, we have people doing tremendous things to volunteer and help us with a lot of things. But if we had a large number of people donating small amounts, that would help us a lot because well, I'll let you describe the bills however you would like to do that, but it's not cheap what we're working on.
We have a very astronomical bill every month, and it's to protect your rights. And let me tell you, I'm a person that everybody, if you know me, I don't like having bills. I don't have bills. My daddy taught me if you can't afford it, you don't do it. And I've stepped out of my comfort zone on this because Florida, we have to have a voice. We have to stand up. We have to protect this for the next generations. We just have to. We don't have a choice. Unless we want to give it all up and not have anything. And that's what we're going to have. They're going to take it away a little at a time. And the Diamondback Terrapins are just another stepping stone. That's all it is. It's a little tiny stepping stone in the big picture. And if you guys don't see the big picture and the painting on the wall, then you need to open your eyes. You need to get out from the rock that you're under, and you need to realize what is really happening in Florida. And what's happening in Florida, for you guys that are out of Florida, it's going to spread. And if you're not watching, it is already spreading. What's happening here It's contagious. It's going to go all over. You know, we stepped up in Florida because the problems are starting here. They are huge here. And we have an amazing board of 9 members. And then we have our advisory and our employees. And you know what? We're working hard. We're trying everything we can. And God love Phil, because we work hand in hand with Phil on a daily basis. He is very actively involved. He knows everything that's happening in Florida. And we love him with all our heart. And we thank him very much. But we need to unite together. This is important, guys. It's time.
Yeah, and something you mentioned, Elizabeth, is you know, what happens in Florida gets spread. Even in the presentation that FWC is planning to give, which hopefully they're smart enough not to, and it discusses the Association of Other Fish and Wildlife Agencies, and that's very real. These people are discussing what they're doing with other agencies in other states, and Georgia's the perfect example. It seems like everything that gets banned or passed in Florida, you know, almost immediately goes to Georgia, even though even the giant constrictor report from Reed and Rada, you know, doesn't, which is one of the most exaggerating and horrible documents ever presented by our government, you know, doesn't substantiate the stuff that they're saying. They're talking about, you know, climate change and how these animals are going to be able to spread because of climate change. Well, the whole state of Florida, besides me, because I'm on the ridge, is going to be underwater if it happens that much. So the least thing we're going to be worried about is Burmese pythons and tegus in the Everglades, which, you know, obviously shouldn't be there. But this isn't about that. It never was about that. We need to do something about problems that animals are causing in Florida, but we also need to support the keepers and the community of keepers that are responsible and love what they do and really are the stewards of our wildlife and our state.
Very much.
Thank you, Michael. We've got a whole queue of people that some really interesting people that are going to come on. Thank you so much. These are like my bosses right here, so they're watching me very closely. But I hope I am doing the job that you want me to be doing right here.
Doing a great, Daniel.
Doing great, buddy.
I'm missing a Florida State game for this, so you know this is.
Oh man. Well, let's not start any college football stuff because we're going to start some controversy. One team, remember? One team, one fight.
One.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say bye to you guys, and thank you so much, Elizabeth and Michael. And I'm going to bring on. We have Jay.
Rockstar Jay?
Kayla, it's telling me I can only have 3 people at a time. So I got to get you guys to leave, Michael and Elizabeth. And I'm going to bring on somebody else
guys.
here. Thank you.
Diamondback, Terrapins rock.
Yeah. I still got to get the Terrapins out here. I do have live Terrapins here, folks. I'm going to bring them out in a little bit. All right.
Bye, guys.
Okay. So they're leaving. I'll bring on Jeremy here, and then I want to bring on Jay for a little bit because Jeremy and Jay hung out a little bit online last week. Michael, could you X out real? Could you? Do you know how to do? He doesn't know how to do anything, folks.
Do anything on here. What button do I push? I could just leave, I guess, right?
Yeah. If nothing else, just close your app. All right. So we got. All right. I'll bring Jeremy on, Brassman, and I'm gonna bring. Hey, how's it going?
What's up, man? Not much. How are you?
Doing all right. Where's Jay? Jay, are you still with us? Jay, send a request really quick. Oh wait. Nope. Sorry, I'm just figuring stuff out here.
No, you're good, man.
I'm going to answer some questions really quick because I haven't addressed any of those.
Yeah, do it up.
While we're so somebody said, can you speak to how legislation in Florida establishes a precedent for all the U.S.? We just talked about that a little bit, but actually our executive director of FWC, Eric Sutton, is also the president of the Southeastern Association of Wildlife Agencies.
Yep.
And he has said in press conferences that other wildlife agencies look to us for innovation. So the innovations that are coming out of Florida are pretty scary. So you should just know that is the intent, to innovate with regulations here and spread those. So hopefully that answers that. Somebody says, I firmly believe the only way to protect species from poaching is to establish captive bred. It might not always be the solution, but I think in a lot of cases it is. With Diamondback Terrapins, they would be so easy to make an inexpensive turtle quickly that there would not be much motivation to poach them after they were widely available. And even some of the breeders in other states that breed them have said, man, if you guys breed them, we know the price is going to go way down. Like they're enjoying being able to sell them at the prices they can, but they have all the business they want. People want those turtles, and they have waiting lists, but they still support us. They've given us a lot of input and information on what they're doing with terrapins, because here in Florida, honestly, we can't breed them, so we don't have a whole lot of experience with actually breeding programs of terrapins. We breed a lot of turtles, but that's just not something we're allowed to do. So you have any comments on anything you've seen tonight, Jeremy?
Man, I wanted to just add on to what you guys were just kind of talking about what happens in Florida spreads. I mean, in just 2 years after you guys had the tegu ban passed, it's passed in both the Carolinas and and now being on the docket in Georgia. I mean, and exactly as you said, with Eric Sutton taking the lead on this organization of multiple wildlife organizations all over the country, especially with a focus on the Southeast. I mean, it's getting everybody, on the same plane. Like, hey, we're going to do this here. This is why you should do it. And
you should know also, these biologists and law enforcement have online meetings all the time from all the state agencies with their turtle biologists and their law enforcement people discussing. I get reports from all of those what happens, and it's a lot of scary stuff. They're definitely wanting to make things more restrictive, and it seems to be an ideology, like an eventual goal of, we need to shut it down all over the world. If we shut down the worldwide trade, then this will all be safe. But it's a pipe dream, because people love these animals. It's just like saying we're going to shut down drugs all over the world. Not that what we do is harmful, like a lot of drugs, but if people want that stuff and there's a demand and it's worth money, especially, somebody is going to do that.
Yeah.
So let me bring on Jay real quick, because he is he's here. And Jay took the initiative to do a fundraiser for us the other day, and I hadn't met Jay. I still haven't met him in person, but I hadn't ever talked to him until a little over a week ago, and he said he wanted to help USARK Florida, and he came up with this 24-hour challenge, and I know Kayla from Military Morphs helped a lot with that. It's good to see you not in a cage, Jay.
How are you guys doing?
How are you doing? So you spent 24 hours in a cage for USARK Florida.
100%.
And you were uncomfortable. He fought the bugs. I tried to stay up with him at night, like with my phone, and I fell asleep with my phone on my chest because I just felt bad for like leaving him out there. and he got rained on, and it was hot. It was so hot during the day. So describe a little bit about your experience, Jay.
I think I watched Jay
I mean,
mosquitoes in the face, man. He was fighting those mosquitoes.
yeah. To be more clear on everything, I think I learned more of how people can work together than just the experience of doing the 24-hour challenge. I mean, I think sometimes in life we gotta sacrifice things and kind of not just think about ourselves and think about others. I mean, on top of what you guys were speaking about, I was at work, so I'm sorry I caught a little late. But if you see what they were saying, being the fact that FWC is trying to keep everything one-sided, they honestly can care less about how we feel, what we have as an opinion. So that 24-hour challenge kind of took my whole mindset from how I seen things from just a simple idea to how much of an impact we can make. You guys all seen it by yourselves. I mean, you seen what it took a big group of people to do, and we fought good. I mean, to be honest, on top of getting bit by bugs, being irritated, I didn't tell nobody, but Kayla knows. I mean, I got bites on my back and stuff like that. They kind of look like I got lit up by a BB gun, but wasn't my after the whole situation, my mind was aware of the feeling, the excitement from everybody. It made me feel the same way I still feel, and I'm still overwhelmed with the situation. And once again, what happens when people unite together and fight? It's incredible, and I think that's what we need to do. If it takes a lot of people to get up out their comfort zone, I mean, I don't mean disrespect. Get up and do something. You know, the simplest thing. Dan said it made us put it plain and simple. If you can't do anything, if there's no people you can get in contact, just a simple donation will go a long way. I mean, that's why I did what I did, because, like I said, I'm a father. I run my own little facility. I work at the Reptile Keeper at an exotic reptile shop. And I kind of felt bad that I couldn't give more. You know, I don't make great money at the Reptile Keeper. I'm not speaking bad about anybody, but I'm just being blunt. And I wanted to
I think a lot of people in this audience have worked in a pet store or worked in a reptile store.
You guys know.
Yeah, I definitely did at one point.
You know, mind blowing where my mind thought we was gonna hit. I'm not saying I thought, but you know, I was comfortable and I felt happy because I'm a humble person. I was happy to even get $400 or $500 and send it to you guys from the kindness, not only from my heart, but everybody else. I mean, guys, we almost hit $8,000 on a 24-hour period. And
that blew my mind. I didn't know, you know, I was like, I had no idea what to expect, but I definitely didn't expect $7,000. So
people that were involved, you know, once again, I appreciate Jeremy for getting on and, you know, raffling off a couple snakes, and it just showed a lot. Like, everybody who got involved, I was so like overwhelmed of all the big names that got on. Because listen, guys, I'm just Jay. I'm just a normal guy who loves what I do and hope to see everybody continue to do what they love. You know, Elizabeth said it very well. It's not only affecting our generation, but our future generations. You know, I get so happy when my daughter picks up her leopard gecko and that smile in her face. You know, my daughter dealt with open heart surgery and everything. She was limited to do a lot of things in life. And just to see the excitement from her enjoying her reptile and being alongside of her to help her and guide her and educate her, it's amazing. You know, it's amazing. And we can't just let things slide, guys. I mean, listen, if you can't speak, do an overnight challenge. I don't know. Speak to some people. Say, hey, listen, this is what I want to do. But do it from the bottom of your heart and do it legit, guys. I'm not saying what I'm about to say in a rude way, but this encouraged a couple people to do fundraisers. And I'm very open-hearted with that.
Well, you made it cool.
Just make sure you meet your word, guys. Meet your word, guys. Stand by what you believe in and take it to 100. I mean, like I said, guys, I didn't think it would go that way. And I mean, Daniel and I and Kayla spoke about some other things that might be in store for the future. And mind-blowing, guys. Mind-blowing. But, like, I mean, thank you guys for believing in me. I mean, I know, like Daniel said, I didn't know Daniel at all. He got in contact with me. He said, hey, can you give me a call? I for some reason, heard of this fundraiser that you're doing. I would like to speak to you. this was never planned, guys. This was not us behind closed doors saying, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to cause a major effect and see how much people we can get on board. No. Different people that did not know each other. I just felt from my heart, I wanted to do this. It became very, very wonderful, and we had a lot of people on board, and we were able to reach a very high goal, guys. And honestly, I feel like we should do this more often. I mean, sometimes, yes, I understand life is crazy right now with the economy and everything, but
Well, thank you so much, Jay.
We can all do something.
You're an inspiration to us all. You make us want to do our job, do a better job at what we do the best we can. And you've inspired kind of a movement. There are other people now that are wanting to do this. Like, it's cool to help USARK Florida, which is nice because we kind of felt like the uncool kids for a little while there. We're a very young organization, but man, the people stepping up to help us is just great. I'm going to let you go because I got some other people waiting to come on, but it was great to see you again, Jay. And
I appreciate it once again. Thank you so much.
If you were waiting to get on, send that request. I think there were a couple people that we said that we were waiting for. So I'll see you later, Jay.
No worries.
And I'm gonna next. I'm gonna move my food. Thank you. I guess while we have a quick break, we're in transition. Hold on, I'm just answering a message from one of the people. Oh, we got. Okay, just a second. I'm gonna get Greg on here. I'm sorry I've let you wait, and Will's waiting too. We got to get Will on also. It's only letting me do 3 at once.
That's bizarre. Be able to have 4. But
yeah, I know. Yeah. Hey, Greg, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
So this is Greg Bashir, Greg's Turtle Haven. Probably a lot more people know you as that, but he is just a brilliant turtle guy. And we got to talk at Daytona, and we talked for hours yesterday. What was it yesterday? It's all a blur. And we just nerd out about turtles. We're turtle nerds, and we talk about different kinds of trees and rivers and dams and all these things that affect turtles and anyways, just tons of nerdy stuff. So how you doing, Greg? Thanks for joining us. I know you're busy.
Yeah. I'm shooting a wedding tonight, so I'm sitting out here while everybody's doing dinner. I'm out here. I figured I'd jump on and see what I could share and see if anything I have to say is even remotely helpful or insightful.
Oh, anything you have to say is remotely helpful. So you know a little bit about our proposal, or have you had a chance to read it?
Yes, I read it probably a couple months back. I think it was forwarded me from Dirk Stevenson, who's my partner on alligator snapping turtle trapping for U.S. Fish and Wildlife. So I got to see it a while back, and I thought it was well written. I think that, unfortunately, as you know, it's an uphill battle, and maybe it shouldn't even be a battle. It should be, if you have something that well written and that planned out, that you should be able to kind of have a seat at the table and work out the nuts and bolts of it. But from following everything that's been going on, it seems like that's not the case, which is unfortunate. I think I had left a comment earlier when I jumped on that, I have a really good relationship in Georgia with Georgia DNR. They care about the animals, they care about the welfare of them, and they put that first. And so I have like a wonderful relationship with them. And I wish it could function as a model for what FWC is doing. Georgia and FWC are close, but it seems that FWC is very political, and they're like kind of headed in that direction. And I don't know, we're kind of the little guys, in this
and we've even we've dealt with some of the same people in the Georgia DNR office before. And you guys from Florida are going to be shocked about this, but you can apply for a permit sometimes in Georgia and get it back in like 20 minutes. I'm not kidding. This is mystifying to anybody in Florida because we wait 6 months. I mean, sometimes. So as far as, there are some things that in Georgia laws that are not the greatest from a reptile keeper's perspective, but as an agency in dealing with them, I don't have anything bad to say about them dealing with Georgia DNR staff. So we'd love to have that kind of relationship.
Yeah, they're very open. They'll let you know who you need to deal with, and I think that comes from maybe in the past they stumbled and had some issues in the past, and that you can Google that if you want to look that up. But I think that's every agency. Every agency is run by people. People are the biggest idiots in the world. Every now and then you get some dumb ones in there, and they act a fool, and then everybody's all up in an uproar about it. So. I think I had told you this yesterday, and that was that both myself and Dan were talking about wanting to move to Florida. I grew up in Florida. My dream was always to move back there, but I don't even know if I can move back there with animals that I've had for 2-3 decades as personal pets. It's like, all that's so up in the air, and it's like we're standing here talking about this because we all love the animals. We're not trying to do them any harm, and by proposing a Diamondback breeding program, you're doing it because you love the animals and you want what's best for them. And I think that maybe that's getting overlooked because it's easier to look at what people see the most, which is busts and illegal trade, and that's all the shiny.
But we should point out these agencies, they issue fishing licenses, they issue a whole lot of fishing license tickets, but you don't see them going after fishermen just because somebody broke the law. There are obviously going to be lawbreakers in any group, but that doesn't necessarily represent the entire group. So, with this FWC presentation, they showed just horrible incidents of cruelty towards turtles, and all of us hate that. But you can't equate what legitimate breeders and keepers are doing. One of the things it said in the presentation was that most turtles die. It talked about when it showed pictures of turtles being wrapped in duct tape and piled up on top of each other, and then it showed turtles being shipped, and it said the sad fact is most of them die. I've been breeding turtles and shipping turtles for around 20 years now, and I don't think I've had a single turtle die in shipment that I know about.
You really gotta blow it to kill a turtle in shipment.
Yeah, and most legitimate sellers have live arrival guarantees. If they want to make a case that they eventually die, well, all living things eventually die. So I guess you can't argue with them on that. If they said the reality is that most of these die, well, the reality is all of them die eventually, just like all of the rest of us. But if you're a legitimate breeder and keeper and seller, you want your animals to arrive alive, and you want to ship them in humane ways. And I've never shipped a turtle that died, and I bet that a lot of other people haven't either. I mean, they're pretty tough, and like you said, it just wasn't a representation of what legitimate keepers do.
Right. Yeah, everything I saw, it just looked like they basically took all their photos from the big book of bad ideas of people that blew it and did things illegally or stupid, and packed turtles up like they were peanuts or something. And of course, if that's your example you want to go on, and those photos have impact. When I see those photos from busts like that, it gets me. I get choked up and I get sensitive about it because, like I said, we care about the animals. So I think that
and it's important to point out that that's animals being smuggled,
right? That
they were showing. People don't pack animals like that. They pack animals like that when they're trying to hide them. So when we pack animals in a legitimate business, we pack them in a humane way. We label the box. We're not trying to label them as something else, like toys or candy or something. So, or keep them quiet. Yeah, a turtle might scratch around a little bit, but it doesn't if you wrap it in duct tape. So that might be why they're packing it like that. It's to hide it. We want to bring this into the light. We want to make it legitimate, legal, and regulated. And let's get some of the bad actors out. But it's not going to all be done by law enforcement. Part of it's going to have to be economics.
Yeah. And yeah, there's a huge difference between buying a captive bred turtle or captive bred reptile and the way it's shipped to you, and the guy who, you know, duct taped it to his taint trying to get through an airport. You know, like that doesn't represent us, you know, at least not me.
That definitely does not. I have never done that.
No, but it's really easy. It's really easy when you have that context that fits your narrative. It's really easy to be like, hey, this is going to make a lot of people feel a certain way, and then they're going to jump onto this narrative and be like, yeah, this is a bad idea.
Peace.
Oh, thank you, Greg. Yeah, he's busy tonight. So if Will, if you're still there, I'm sorry if you left, but yeah, please come back in, Will. Kayla, send him a message again if you can. I left him hanging too long. Will has been so great with us. Oh, please use the question bubble at the bottom of the page. Yeah, I've been. Let's see. Let me get to a question real quick from Dainty Dinosaurs, who I also met at Animal Con. We were feeding gators together. Do you believe FWC even has the means/manpower to enforce the rules they've put in place? Well, from a permitting perspective, it doesn't seem like it, because it takes 6 months to process a permit and everything's running late. They say their systems are all going online, but I can tell you I have like 8 different permits, and I think there are 5 different systems I have to use to apply for these permits with different departments. It's not all in one place. One of them I have to print out a form and mail it in right now. Another one I have to print a form out, fill it in, scan it, and email it back to them.
Jesus.
And another one I have to fill out on an online system that barely works and times out after you've put in a bunch of information and you lose everything. It takes days and days and days just to do all these permits. So I hope they go all online, and I talked to our head of law enforcement, Major Grant Burton, and I talked about getting it all in one place. So I hope that'll happen at some point.
It would be nice if it did.
Yeah. We're gonna bring Will on. Jeremy, you've been a little bit quiet. I'm sorry if other people have been talking over you. Hey, Will.
No,
What's up, guys?
This is what I'm doing to you, Jeremy. I'm like saying, all right, do you have anything to say? Let's bring on Will Nace, you know?
No, you're good. You're good. Honestly, I wanted to be here to be able to support, we've had the chance to talk a little bit at some of the different events down in Florida, but, the stuff that we're seeing from outside of Florida looking in, I'm in North Carolina. So what I see happen down there, I know is directly going to affect, us up here in the Carolinas within a fairly short period of time. Like I mentioned, the tegu ban earlier. In just 2 years, the Carolinas both knocked out black and white tegus, and now we're seeing them happen in Georgia. So the frustrating thing, with this proposal being recommended against, is it sets this precedent for other organizations, other state organizations, to adopt this narrative, where if we propose something else for a species in the Carolinas or in Georgia or anywhere else really where this could be beneficial, they're going to look at a place like Florida and say, hey, well, they didn't, allow that to go through. So, and these were all the reasons we should follow suit with that. And, Rob and I have talked on our podcast about how even Maine, the state of Maine, which couldn't be more different than Florida, has cited using Florida as a source for their proposed regulations. So when we talk about this, what happens in Florida can happen everywhere. It's the real deal, and I remember testifying at that hearing in Maine, and I was shocked just looking at the native people of Maine calling out, their fish and wildlife officers by name and saying, weren't you just at my house last week to identify a black rat snake because you didn't know what it was? Now you're supposed to identify 500 other species of reptiles.
Yeah.
It's not feasible for a lot of these officers to do, and yet they do it anyway. You know, and I think one of the biggest dangers with FWC is acting as an executive branch of government. You know, they get to do a lot more and have a lot more leniency than some of these other organizations that have to go through a lot more due process, which, you know, it's an unfair advantage in that regard, because when other states are looking at this, they're like, oh, well, they did it. And it's like, well, yeah, they didn't have to deal with anything. You know,
Yeah. Well, to answer a question somebody asked in the comments, and I'm going to get to you real quick in just a second, Will. I know I'm like making you. I feel so bad. He's like looking around. He's waited all night.
Oh, no, you're good. I'm thinking.
So somebody asked a question. How's it going with the constitutionality process and the lawsuit? So this doesn't really have to do. Well, it does have to do something with Terrapins, but the way our laws work here in Florida, our reptile rules, is all the rules about wild animals, that's what the state constitution says, are made by FWC. FWC is given the authority over that. So these don't go through a legislature. Some people are saying, well, how do you get this legislation? It's not really legislation. What usually happens, staff proposes rules, and the commission can vote to approve the rules, or they can vote them down. Now, lately, most of what staff proposes passes, usually unanimously. And so that's how the process works. So what USARK Florida is doing is we've actually made a legal challenge in court saying that FWC lacks the constitutional authority to regulate captive animals or animals in human care. Because we don't think that the animals that we work with in captivity fall under the definition of wild animals. There is an agency well suited to handle that, and that's our Department of Agriculture. And that's who currently regulates, even turtle keepers in Florida can get an aquaculture license, and they're regulated by our Department of Agriculture. But FWC can still make rules in reference to turtles that even agriculture has to enforce. So we're working on some changes. We can't say everything about it, but we have a lobbyist and lawyers that cost us a lot of money. So again, donate. We can really use the donations. See that Cash App. Buy a T-shirt. We got to get Will in one of these T-shirts too, and Jeremy. But yeah, you'll be a better model than me. You notice who put? So I sent this reporter a picture of Will holding a turtle, and they put that was like the featured photo in the article. That was at the top of the article.
Daniel, I think that's just because you weren't tall enough to get in frame.
Oh, I don't even fit in the photos with Will. But Will, I have a special friend who would like to see you. And there she is. So this is Sweetie, and Will has bonded with Sweetie.
Yeah, apparently she wanted to rip David's finger off, but I was completely fine with her.
So Sweetie is a Carolina Diamondback Terrapin. This is an adult female. They can get bigger than this. But they're extremely variable. You get all different head patterns. There are some with the more concentric look, the kind of connected circles and stripes and stuff. But she has more spots. So that's a Carolina Terrapin. These occur in Florida from about the St. Johns River near Jacksonville north. So it's just a small section of northeast Florida. So you can give her a little kissy there, Will.
It's the chin pad.
Yeah, that's right. She likes her chin scratch. See, you really bonded with her. I thought that I wasn't going to be able to take her home, that Will was just going to... See, she's not liking me. She sees you, and she wants to be with you right now. Hey.
Hey, not for nothing, you did leave your phone charger here, though.
I know. That's why I went to Walmart at like 10:30 last night and bought two more. Because my phone, I chatted with Kayla, and I have two phones that I'm using to try to keep this going, and both went dead when I was chatting with Kayla about doing this last night. So, yeah. Did I leave an orange ring like an orange plastic ring at your place, Will?
No, you put that back in the box before you left.
Where is that? It's one of my educational tools.
I know,
I
it's the
lost
ring for
it.
the cages. I swear
Yeah,
you
I
put
was
it back in the
I was
box.
gonna use that. Kayla, how do I put pictures up here again?
Oh, I didn't even know you could do that.
Remind me. Yeah. We figured it out, but I have some pictures.
You know,
I had a
take your
pic.
phone and just.
Yeah. Well, there is a way. I have a stockpile of pictures.
I don't think you left that thing here. I didn't see it anywhere.
Anyway, maybe she'll. There's the rest of the restaurant. Pressing buttons. Anyways, so what that was a bycatch reduction device. I was showing it's a little plastic ring, and it goes at the mouth of a crab trap. And what that does is keep turtles, or terrapins specifically, from being able to get in the trap. So in Florida, what they did was they required those on recreational traps only. And the commercial crabbers kind of threw a fit, and the commissioners did not vote to require it on commercial traps. So still probably about 2/3 of our traps out there do not have bycatch reduction devices. And those are required in a lot of other states. So, we hate to see terrapins drowning. The bycatch reduction device seemed like a good option to help keep terrapins out of traps. So we're going to continue to speak in favor of that. We actually got attacked by some commercial crabbers on our page that were kind of trolling our page for a while. And, we are for small businesses, obviously. We're the last ones to talk about trying to put people out of business, but we're also for reasonable regulations that and compromise that work for everybody. So we hope that the commercial crabbers will kind of come around to it, that it's working in other states. So we don't want to see terrapins get drowned.
See, I told you it works. She calms right down.
Yeah. She's calming down. I was about to get the other one, but now I feel bad even moving her because she's calming down. Now this one's named Sweetie. I didn't bring her. I have another female ornate terrapin that is Mama Crusher, and you got to watch your fingers around her. These jaws are designed for crushing snails. That's what they do. That's the main thing these adult terrapins eat is periwinkle snails. So when they bite you, it hurts. Just like map turtles have these huge heads. We call them megacephalic. It means big head. And if they bite you, it hurts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
How you doing there, Sweet?
A lot of, I'm not a big turtle guy, obviously, on social media at all. But I do have a voice on social media. This is something that's really important. And like Elizabeth was talking about earlier, moving forward for, future generations. I have a daughter. I have a son about to be here any day now. I'm building a zoo as a legacy for them, so that they have these animals when they're hopefully my age. But, Diamondback terrapins, like I was telling you, my wife absolutely loves them. They're like her favorite turtle, and I waited too long to get them, and then this whole law thing changed, and now, unfortunately, I can't. So I am pushing for this because I would like to one day get these turtles to not only display here at our zoo, but for my lovely wife as well. So this is a bit of an importance for me, obviously, for many different reasons, and obviously for the state and the wild population, because none of this stuff makes sense. And I could go on for hours,
Yeah.
but I'm
So
not going to.
Somebody just said you're not a big turtle guy, but what's swimming behind you?
That's Crush.
Yeah, he's only got one of the coolest turtles in the world.
Yeah, right.
Look at this. Not a big turtle guy. I don't have one of those.
Will's like, I don't do turtles, so I got to go big, or I can't do
Okay, don't get me wrong. I like turtles. I just am not known for turtles.
Fair
He
enough.
had another cool turtle. Can I talk about your other turtle that you had that I saw, or is that too controversial?
No, go ahead.
Okay. he has a Cuban slider. Tell the story on the Cuban slider then.
The whole story? Or
Well,
like,
the interesting parts.
so I, I was contacted by U.S. Fish and Wildlife asking if I wanted to take a red-eared slider from Cuba that was illegally imported in a guy's underwear from Miami, or in Miami airport.
It's not a red ear, though.
It's not a red ear. And it was regulated as a red-eared slider. And I was like, you know, I haven't really reached out to some turtle experts that I know. You know, thank God you came over and were able to help me with that. But yeah, for 2 years now, it's been regulated as a Cuban red-eared slider because U.S. Fish and Wildlife and Florida Fish and Wildlife both said that it was a red-eared slider, but it's not. So Daniel sent a couple of different pictures of it to some scientists or conservationist friends of yours, right?
Yeah. Well, I thought it was a Cuban slider right away, but yeah, I verified that with some sliders are not my area of expertise, but it looked like a Cuban slider.
Yeah, you told me first, and you're like, "Oh, I have some friends. I want to just, ask them too." And then, yeah, when you started sending me all the stuff, and I was like, "Holy crap, that's exactly what this guy is." So he's even on my CSP as a red-eared slider, but
yeah. So he doesn't. The fact that U.S. Fish and Wildlife gave this to you legally, there's no regulation on that turtle. Now, nothing special. It's not a red-eared slider. It's not a Trachomys scripta elegans. But if you guys Google Cuban slider, the turtle is not what pops up. It's a bunch of little Cuban sandwiches. So
that's kind of funny.
You have to Google.
That means you got to start posting more pictures of that thing, man.
Yeah, I know.
You have to Google. You have to Google Cuban slider turtle. But that's a really cool turtle, and it's not a red ear. I mean, if you've seen a lot of red ears, you can tell it has a different ventral pattern. Its head's really dark. They never really have quite red ears in the same way as a red-eared slider.
They're like brown.
Yeah.
Not even red.
Interesting. But how'd you say that turtle got back or got here?
A guy smuggled it in his underwear when it was literally the size of a quarter.
Yeah, so Greg, should I repeat what Greg said? Greg said something about smuggling turtles duct taped to your taint or something. I guess I'll just throw it out there. But I guess this stuff happens. That's what we don't want, though. We don't want smuggling, and we think that making breeding and especially breeding on a large scale legal and supplying the market is really an answer to some of our conservation problems. So, oh wait, you can remove.
Oh, by the way, you can't have 4 people in here because Kenan is still technically in here.
Okay, that's what Kayla's just telling me. So, how do I get him out of here then? Oh, you guys, how do I get rid of Kenan?
Live guy.
I don't know. I've never had a guest so rude they wouldn't leave.
Okay, it says if you click the title, you can remove. Okay, let's see. Kayla, it's not showing him being in here still for me. It just shows Will and Brassman.
Oh yeah, he's still on mine.
It shows he's still on mine too.
Huh.
That's funny.
I'm trying to, because I can remove you guys, but I'm not seeing where I can remove him.
Ouch.
Somebody tell Kenan to leave. He's done. Leave or come back, but you can't just sit in purgatory out there, Kenan.
Right.
We're trying to kick him out, folks.
I had to come inside because it's raining cat and dogs down here by us right now.
Yeah, everybody's saying that he's still there. See if there's any other. Somebody just asked, could these rules affect the state of Tennessee? In theory. Well, Tennessee has its own issues. It's got some some weird laws with native stuff, but I think you could breed Diamondback Terrapins in Tennessee. I'm not super familiar with their laws. I just know as a colubrid snake breeder, which is something else I do, native colubrids are, you have to have a special permit in Tennessee. So whenever anybody asks me to ship there, I would tell them to go through their, I forget what it's called, Tennessee Wildlife Resources. And interestingly, somebody from their Tennessee Wildlife Resources agency wanted to buy a pine snake for education. And I said, okay, well, you have to have a permit. And they're like, well, I can't remember what they're called. We're the DNR or whatever. And I'm like, well, I need to see a permit for that because I'm not shipping. You got to have something that's telling me this is legal because I'm not just shipping that. So let's see. Just letting everybody know, just a reminder, these USARK Florida shirts, they're available. They're $30 shipped. We have our Cash App there. If you want one, send us a payment with all your shipping name, shipping info, email address, and phone number, and we can get that shipped out to you. And if your heart moves you, any donation is helpful. We're fighting a lot of battles here in Florida. For instance, one of the things that we've really needed to do with this Terrapin stuff is bring in scientific experts. And FWC has brought in a scientist. We're not really thrilled with some of the things that he said. We thought they were kind of misinformed. But we have scientists who support us also. Brassman or Greg came on earlier and he talked about working with Dirk Stevenson. Both Greg and I have worked with Dirk Stevenson. He's a wonderful friend. He's a very respected, probably one of the most respected herpetologists in the Southeast. He wrote a letter supporting our proposal. Dr. Whit Gibbons from University of Georgia, possibly the most respected herpetologist in the Southeast. He wrote a letter supporting our proposal. So we have people, Dr. David Rostel from Georgia Southwestern University. He's done a lot of research on tortoises and turtles. He wrote I think it's called The Conservation of North American Tortoises. He's the author. So we have 2 PhDs there, respected biologists, and somebody who's, Dirk Stevenson is a PhD in just being in the field, and nobody can touch him regardless of what the letters say after his name. But these are all folks that have supported us. So, and now Greg's supporting us too, and he's an incredibly respected turtle guy. So we definitely have these folks, but we'd like to be able to fly them in if we need to have them speak on our behalf and things like that. And all this stuff costs money. So we don't want to be begging for money all the time, but the reality is if nobody donates, we're going to stop operating at some point. So our legal bills and bills. Yeah. So we really need everybody's support, and we've had people donate from all over the world. It's been amazing that people. Oh, Kayla's also telling me, remind people to follow your page and turn on notification bell, so they see it when we post. So I got to get all the stuff down that all the social media are supposed to say. So hit your bell icon, everybody. I'll get all that stuff down soon. Am I doing all right, guys? You guys have done.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
I'm not yet the Instagram pro, so I'm still getting there with some help. But I appreciate you bearing with me.
Hey man, you're on the fast track to figuring it all out. We've been doing a lot of USARK recently.
I'll bring out another Terrapin here. So this is a male. This is an ornate Diamondback Terrapin, and this is the one that's the #1 turtle in average value being imported into Hong Kong. And you can see why this one I nicknamed him Bug because he has spots all over his head. It kind of looks like bugs on his head. I have another one at home that has almost completely plain white head. Actually, you can kind of compare the one on our proposal here. Almost no spots there. So, yeah, they're super beautiful turtles, and you can see they have in natural light, he would look more orange, but they're really colorful. Also, when they're wet, their color shows up a little bit better. But this guy will.
Everybody knows too. He just named these turtles today. Hey, I like them. They're great names for both of them. It fits both of their personalities.
Yeah. So the male terrapin, you can look at the tail. You can definitely tell the difference between the male and the female. He is got a thick tail. He's thick down there. They average smaller. Hey, we're all animal people, right? This is just what we have to talk about. So to compare a female and a male terrapin, look at the difference in the tails. You see the male and the female, and the male this is about as big as males get, and the females get even bigger than this girl. So they are a big size difference. And the males probably have a little more varied diet than the females. The females seem to eat a lot more snails, especially, and clams and stuff. And the males are eating all kinds of stuff. But in the wild, these guys, when they're babies, they're just eating whatever they can find. Obviously, they can't crush a big snail with their jaws, but they're hatching about the size of a quarter, and then they can reach the size that these guys are at. And sometimes, Dan was saying earlier, 2 years. I was saying more like 3 years, but they grow really fast, especially if they're kept warm the entire time in captivity. So they can mature quickly. Sometimes you'll hear about turtles taking a long time to mature, and that can be true in the wild, especially the further north you get, where they don't have long growing seasons, because the turtle's underground and hibernating half the year. But with the terrapins in Florida, they're kind of active. If it's warm out, they'll be active. They never really hibernate. So, you guys have any questions about terrapins specifically?
There was a few people that said, they want terrapins now, and I'm like, see, we need more people in Florida right now to want terrapins, so that more people are willing to fight to get this on the right track. That's the whole goal.
If you want terrapins, now I don't know exactly how this is going to happen, but they're probably just going to, the FWC meeting that was supposed to be happening next week has been canceled because we have a storm bearing down on us. So,
so I'm happy. I'm sorry if anybody else is.
I'm in the cone, and we're at a real danger for flooding. I'm on a river, so we're nervous right now. We've had some bad things happen with hurricanes in the past. We had our whole house full of turtles. Our property flooded, and we literally filled our house full of turtles and tortoises. And I have outbuildings with snakes that are off the ground, and the water was almost in those buildings. And we had to park our cars way up on the road, and we had to kayak to our cars. So that was during Hurricane Irma.
Jeez.
So we're hoping to not have a repeat of that. But if you're interested in turtles, like I said, they may be delaying this meeting all the way to when the next one was scheduled, which is in November. And I hope they will open public comment back up for comments to be mailed or emailed. They have a system where you can submit online comments. That period ended yesterday at 5 p.m. Actually, they closed it down a little before that. We recorded that. It was supposed to be open till 5 p.m., but it didn't stay open till 5 p.m. So they shut it down early. But if you don't comment before that, then you really have to show up to the meeting. And we need you guys to show up to the meeting. Now, unfortunately, this one was going to be in Miami. The next one's supposed to be in Panama City in the Panhandle. So
Jeez. Well,
I
I'm
know
gonna have
that's
a newborn, so I will not probably be able to make it to that one.
see,
So
yeah. So
I hope they
it's
redo this sooner, but if it's in November, I'm not gonna be able to make it because I'm gonna have a newborn.
yeah. Well, so when's the due date?
The 5th. Almost
The
dead.
5th of October or what?
November.
Of November. Oh,
The 5th
okay.
of
So
November,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Wow, wow. Well, we wish you the best of luck on that. That's exciting. And
Well, thank you.
your daughter was so awesome when I was there. She wanted to be involved, didn't she?
Oh yeah, yeah. I actually I took her to a local fish store up here by us. A friend of mine owns, and she's got two ornate terrapins in a big like horse trough in the middle of the store, and Coral fell in love with them because every time she went up to the horse trough, they both come swimming right towards her, and she was like, "Daddy, can we take them home?" And I'm like, "No, baby, we can't." I felt so bad. Ugh. Yeah, so
Wow.
that was kind of an interesting story that happened today when, we have this plan.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. She seemed like an awesome kid. I was a teacher. I really like kids. I miss having kids around. They're a lot of fun. I was a music teacher actually.
Man, nice.
So a lot of people don't know that I taught elementary school music and high school chorus. So my background is as a singer.
God bless you for the elementary school music.
I don't know,
Those
but Jeremy's on that
classes
side of
are
everybody's
not
screen.
easy.
Okay.
Hey, here you go. You two got to get together, and you got to come up with a theme song for this about terrapins.
I have already written a theme for USARK Florida, actually, but I might.
Perfect.
Yeah, it goes like down, 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 down. It's all there. It's already. I recorded a demo and everything. I just haven't had time to get it all out there.
You got to
But
get his horn in it.
You need
yeah,
horns.
yeah.
Horns.
So what instruments do you play, Jeremy?
Primarily trumpet, but I can play trombone and tuba too if necessary.
Weren't we? Was I talking to you about this or somebody else? Somebody trying to force you to play the French horn? I can't remember whether it was you or somebody else.
That was me. Yeah.
Now we're getting into some band nerd talk right here.
Yeah.
But just so you guys know, the French horn is possibly the most specialized and difficult, wouldn't you say, of the brass instruments to play? So it's not one of these things that you can just pick up and easily. Yeah. Well, either way, you'll sound better than me on that. So my wife's in the comments. She's saying "Yay tuba" right now.
Yeah.
She was a music major in college. Also, we had to take classes in every single instrument group.
As a music ed major, yeah. Yep.
Yes. So I had to play. I was probably most natural at trombone. Actually, it matters like how thick your lips are.
TikisGeckos is on here now. I just saw his name pop up.
Oh yeah, we need to. Yeah, we definitely need to get David in. Well, Jeremy, you've been on for a while. Do you mind if we bring David on? And I don't know, Kenan, he's just gonna stay on here as a ghost, I guess.
No, that's cool. My phone's about to die, so no problem.
Yeah, mine is too, actually. I'm on like less than 10%.
All right. Well, I'll let you guys both of you take a final. Well, Jeremy first. You first. I'll kick you off first, and then we'll kick Will off. Do you have a final word?
No, because my phone's really gonna die. So.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for hanging out.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
All right. I'll bring David on with you, Will, for a little bit at least. You guys need to hang out anyway.
I'm at 5%. I know. We've been trying to do a collab together, and it's just been hard with both of us being very busy.
Yeah. David, can you send the request really quick? David, come on. You're going to miss Will, David. He's going to die and go away. I don't know if he hears us. Maybe you could yell. Maybe he can hear you almost from the house. Will, you're not that far.
Not
here
over
he
this
is.
Rain. Over the rain we're both having right now? No way.
Yeah. I was driving a little car and I almost got stuck on the roads to David's house. Hey, David.
What up? What up? What up?
You guys are my new Terrapin.
Jeremy out.
Say what?
Huh?
I said, good thing we kicked Jeremy out. He's not even in Florida.
Yeah, but you know he likes to hang out. So what are you gonna do?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you guys prepping
on?
for the hurricane or tropical storm, whatever it is?
I haven't yet, but I need to. That'll probably be my main focus after this.
Yeah, we've
David,
been.
we're not in the cone anymore, so we're safe. We're okay for
Are
now.
we really?
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, we're out of the cone.
Dude,
already.
this whole day I've just been running around doing shit doing things for the property and stuff. So
No, we're
I don't want to get
officially
hit,
out of the
but
cone.
yeah.
We'll get
All right,
a
that's
little
good.
bit of wind, but not too bad.
Will, is your place flooded?
In some spots.
Yeah, same. Yeah, we're flooded like on the back end and on the sides.
Yeah, it's been
Well,
raining all day down here.
Yeah.
When I was leaving your house the other day, David, the road was pretty dicey in my little car.
Yeah. When it rains, those dirt roads become so bumpy, and yeah, it's not made for like little cars.
Yeah, it was definitely. I'm driving my mom's car right now. She's let me. It keeps going on and on because I haven't had time to buy a car. Who has time for that, especially with all these issues we have going on right now? So I'm blaming FWC for not having a car yet.
And now they can't. Did they say anything about the new meeting? Are they going to reschedule or what?
We don't know for sure, but we're thinking they're just going to delay it till when the next meeting was already scheduled, which is November, I think November 1st or something. I could be wrong. It's in November in Panama City. I don't know the exact date.
All right, you guys have fun over there, okay?
Yeah. See, we're going to lose some people. We gotta get you up there. You could make some kind of video about going up to the Panhandle, making an adventure or something.
Yeah, maybe. Who's up there? Is anybody up there?
Yeah, we've got some people in that general area.
I know a few people up there.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of people in the Panhandle, but
yeah,
it's much more sparse than where you guys are, for sure.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
You're making me hungry now, David. I grabbed like Wendy's in a hurry on the way, and I don't even know where I put it. I haven't eaten any of my dinner. I was just running late.
How long have you guys been on?
Yeah. What are we at now? We've been on, oh, wow, we're like close to 2.5 hours.
Shit.
So thank you for everybody who's participated. We have 51 people on right now. So,
you guys got any donations?
Elizabeth would be keeping track of that. I'm not able to look at that, but we did. You finally got her to get the Cash App for USARK Florida, so we have that, and that's pinned.
The Cash App and the Venmo.
Yes, the Venmo is still processing or something, so we're rolling that out. There's some kind of verification that has to happen or something, but
So plug the shirt, Daniel. Plug the shirt, Daniel. Come on.
Oh, yeah, okay. So I got to plug the shirt again. Yeah, so if you guys would like a Terrapin shirt, an ornate Terrapin USARK Florida shirt designed by Adeline Robinson, they're available for $30 ship. It's $25 in person, like when we sell them at reptile shows and stuff. But, yeah, if you can just send it to the Cash App there. We also take PayPal and credit card if you need to pay that way. But it comes in blue or gray. But tell us what size you wear, what you want, blue or gray, and tell us your shipping name, shipping address, email address, and phone number. and we'll get those out to you.
We're also
But,
gonna be
yeah, I
coming
wish
out.
Elizabeth, where are you? I don't know if Elizabeth's even still awake.
Hey,
She
we're also
works
gonna be
so.
coming out with these shirts for USARK Florida. Can you see it?
Oh yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so it has a green anole, red belly, and an alligator on there. I'm working on something with these guys, but these shirts are gonna be a little bit more expensive. So probably around like $30, $25. But so we'll be doing those soon, probably by the end of the year, or maybe even the beginning of next year.
Hey,
Cualquiera de los dos.
Elizabeth is still on if you want to get her on, because my phone is literally about to die.
All right. Well,
Okay, well, thanks so much, Will. Elizabeth's gonna missing you. She was jealous when I went to both of you guys' house. She was like mad. She was texting me back like angry faces. So,
I invited her. I'm sure David has too.
all right, Will. See you later, bro.
thanks,
Later. We'll
Will.
catch up
Thanks.
soon, David.
All right, man.
Later,
Yeah,
guys.
let's bring Elizabeth back on. Elizabeth, will the USARK Tinley shirts be at Tinley? Kayla asked.
Elizabeth's on, but she's I don't know if she could hit the request button to be on the live.
Yeah, Elizabeth, hit the plus, the camera with the plus sign at the bottom there to come on. But I hope we can get some shirts up to Tinley.
You guys are going to Tinley too?
I don't know yet. We'll have to talk about that. Somebody's saying, where's Kemp Kenan? He's a ghost. He was on here earlier, everybody. And apparently he hasn't left. But he's not here either, so we don't know what to tell you on him. I'm being told there's a glitch.
Oh, is there? Not on my side. I could see you fine. It's probably
Yeah,
your
no,
Wi-Fi.
it was something where
Upgrade
Camp
your
Kenan's.
Wi-Fi. If you have a glitch, your Wi-Fi is probably not very good. So
Yeah. So somebody's asking me in the questions, how long do Terrapins live? I'm not sure what the longest recorded life is for them, but a lot of similar turtles can live over 50 years and possibly even longer. So it may be shorter in the wild. I don't have an exact answer to that question, but that's what my estimate would be on what I know. If you're a turtle expert that knows that, let me know and put it in the comments. Okay, here we go. We're bringing her on. Elizabeth, where are you? There she is.
Hi, guys. Hey, David.
how are you?
Good. How are you, honey?
Good. Eating.
Well, Elizabeth,
understand.
while you're on, I'll just let you kind of take it because I got this like 3 hours ago or something, and I haven't touched it. I'm sure it's going to be delicious.
Receiving any donations yet?
We have got a couple. We've got Cash App up today, and Venmo needs to do its verification. So Cash App is up. We've done a couple of them. I just haven't checked PayPal yet till we get off of this tonight. But yes, we were getting a few.
Okay. Yeah, guys, let's start. Let's give some donations. We got the Cash App pinned on one of the comments right there.
Yep.
And we were able to raise about what, $7,000 last week?
$7,006.01.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazing.
That's awesome. I'm glad we did.
Jay was a rock star, that's for sure.
You guys got this for a second. I'm going to go wash the turtle poop off my hands real quick.
Yeah,
so talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
There you go.
Elizabeth.
Well, guys, so everybody knows we're working on an event. Also, I'm working with David's most beautiful other half. And we are working on trying to do an event on the 29th of October. So hopefully we will get some information out on that very, very soon.
Yeah,
So
we could also do we could also do online events, maybe like an online auction or something like that, where
that's a great idea.
because obviously that way people from all over the states could participate.
We had somebody from Arizona willing to do that. Daniel was working with them. So I think that's a great idea, especially now that David has twisted my arm and made sure I got some cash apps coming in and taken care of. Thank you,
Yeah,
David. So we're working on all that. So that's great. Absolutely.
awesome. Yeah. And also, what was I gonna say? So I don't know if you guys have the person that made your website can manage something where we could do the auctions directly on the website, because Instagram will shut us down, and so will like a lot of other social medias.
We cannot do it on the website,
Mm-hmm.
but Mike at Premium Cricket has said he does have that, and we are able to work with him perhaps to do stuff like that.
Okay.
So actually, Billy Healy was working with him and talking to him this week because we had some people wanting to donate some animals, so we thought that would be a really good idea to do some online auctions.
Okay. Are you gonna be at Tinley?
I'm trying to be at Tinley. I'm a little short-staffed, so I don't know if I'm going to make it or not for sure yet.
Okay.
Elizabeth, some of the comments, they're begging me to come to
Begging
Tinley.
you to go to Tinley. Tinley's amazing. I wish we could all go.
Tinley is.
I've been there quite a few times. I went up when the Cubs won the World Series, the Chicago Cubs in 2016. So we hung out at Tinley, and then I went to Wrigley Field, and I saw an amazing Cubs game where the Cubs came back to win. And I got to see Eddie Vedder, John Cusack, and Bill Murray are all big Chicago Cubs fans. And John Cusack bumped me with his motorcycle in the crowd trying to leave the stadium. So I'm going to say that I've met John Cusack.
Fair enough. I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Somebody else just said, please come to Tinley, Daniel.
So there you go. Well, we got to raise some money then.
If you guys want me to come to Tinley, you need to donate.
Yep.
You got to
Absolutely.
24 hours in one of these cages over here, one of my iguana cages.
There you go.
So maybe raise the money.
Yeah. Well, we're
just
gonna.
so everybody knows out there, we have some amazing people in Florida. Daniel's entire paycheck that he gets paid is not from any of your donations. It is all through sponsors. So we have sponsors that take care of him and love what he does and love everything that we've been working on. So all they do is donate specifically so that we keep Daniel.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, sponsors. But if you're sending money, it's still going to help the whole pot. So
Absolutely. Yeah, as you're donating, and what we've been doing with that, just so everybody knows, not only paying our legal team, but we have biologists and different specialists. We pay the economist. So we've been paying all these different backgrounds to be able to support the cause and tell them what we're doing.
Elizabeth.
So, yes, sir.
How many businesses do you run?
Do I run?
Yeah.
Do we have to talk about that right now?
Well, I want to show the people.
I own a martial arts school, so I run an after-school program with a full Taekwondo program. So we have black belts. I also have a reptile store. I have my own breeding farm, and then we are a show sponsor for Repticon, so we do all the southern states. I have a team in Georgia. That's why I had to get off a minute ago and go check on them. I have a team in Georgia, and my husband's in Fort Walton this weekend. So,
okay. So Elizabeth runs all these businesses, does all this work, and she doesn't take a penny from the donations that we get from USARK Florida. And she is probably one of the hardest workers that's on the association right now. And she's making everything that we have right now in Florida, we owe to her. So if we can make her job a little bit easier and give donations, and obviously I don't want to put anybody's business out there, but a lot of the members of USARK Florida are the biggest donors. So let's take some of that burden off of their back. And if we could all as a community donate just a tiny bit, $5, $10 here and there, we can make a big
Yes.
Well,
Wow.
thank you.
Just wanted
Well
to
said, David. Yeah, that is wonderful.
Thank
The
you,
board
David.
has paid for a tremendous amount. Actually, all the Terrapin shirts that we bought so far, I purchased all those personally so that the money could be raised and put toward the scientists and everything that we needed. So we
Right.
needed to generate some income. So that came from myself personally. You've seen those amazing black shirts that says USARK Florida on them, and it has the big Burmese. David donated all of those also. So people are really stepping up, but we need everybody to step up. And you don't have to do a lot. If you can do $5 a month, if we had 1,000 people do $5 a month, that would be amazing. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but it makes a big difference in our world. And it makes a big difference in how we can help you.
Right.
And you can tell how hard Elizabeth works for you because she's the only one not eating right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's the only one that wasn't sleeping last night because her air went out last night. So she's sitting here like, oh, I'm
Oh my God.
exhausted tonight.
I
Actually,
wasn't.
I'm in my RV tonight. I cheated. I had to come out to the RV. The dog and I are in the RV.
Everybody.
Show us Malin. Show us Malin. We got to see Malin.
Malin, come here. Come here. Come up here. You wanted her.
Oh, there she is.
In all her glory.
Oh.
Yeah, now you got it worked up. Now you're in
She
trouble.
loves the camera, doesn't she? This is her starring moment.
She likes attention in general. So, let's see what this being said. Oh. She's just like, let me see. Now she jumped on my head. So, yeah.
So, aside from the meeting in Panama City, is there any others that are coming up?
No, I mean, nothing, unless for some reason they decided to say this one is going to be postponed to another date that's not the next meeting. We don't really, they haven't confirmed that, but we're guessing that it's just going to be moved back to the date of the next meeting.
Right.
Because they haven't given us any clarity. They just said this one was canceled. So,
Mm.
We'll
and
have a
that came
tag.
through today around what, 2:00?
We'll have a tag meeting, a non-native species tag meeting in November too. So there's going to be multiple things happening there again.
And guys, come out to the tag. If you can make it to the tag, I know it's at the worst awful time. It's in the middle of the week, in the middle of the day. And I understand that. And it's usually for 2 days. But you guys need to hear what's being said. This is where we're talking about our list.
Where is the tag meeting at?
They haven't announced it yet.
Okay.
The last one was in Daytona. They're picking different spots around the state. They haven't told us yet.
Okay. Do we know when they will announce it?
Usually a couple weeks before, unfortunately. But as soon as they announce it, we will let everybody know.
Okay. All right. We'll keep an eye out for sure.
And actually, to our members, if you're a member of USARK Florida, we'll send an email out and let everybody know in an email blast. And then it'll also be posted on Facebook and Instagram.
And you could become a member for free. You just got to go to the website.
For right now, yes, we are going to be changing that soon, but currently we are still having a free membership.
Okay. All right. So, that's good. Do we know when? So, if they were to allow us to do the Terrapin breeding program, do we know when that would take place? Is that something that happens like in the beginning of the year, or is that something that goes in effect right away?
Well, what happens is it is presented, the program is presented to commission. After the commission approves it, then there's a wait time of like 30 days and everything to go through processing. And after it's processed, then they'll be announced. And then once it's announced, it goes through. So it depends on what commission meeting it is heard at.
But we're a long way away from that because they would have to write rules to make this happen. And right now, staff is saying no. So staff right now is recommending no action taken. So really, the commissioners will have to kind of override them and say,
Yes.
we asked, what we're hoping is that they will say, well, we asked you to work with these folks on a breeding program, which is what they did. They asked staff to work with us, and staff, frankly, hasn't really done that.
Right.
They released this presentation, which is kind of a hit job. And you know, unfortunately, we're not at a good place at the moment after this presentation, but we've gotten a reprieve from the hurricane. So they're going to have a chance to regroup. Maybe they'll reconsider because what they put out was really just disappointing and unscientific and you know, not really helpful at all to anybody.
Right.
So we hope they'll actually, you know, read our presentation that we worked really hard on, and we have scientific opinions on. We have endorsements from very respected biologists like Dr. Rick Gibbons from University of Georgia, Dr. David Rostel from Georgia Southern University. We talked about Dirk Stevenson, was of the Orion Society. Now he's kind of doing his own thing. But these are very respected people that have endorsed our Terrapin proposal. It has some turtle poop on it now, but
I was like,
that's what happened. It was a beautiful proposal, you know.
There you go.
Maybe we can just print out a cover sheet. These pages were expensive, you know.
That's why it's so important now that everybody contacts the commissioners. We need to start emailing commissioners, writing them, calling them, sending them messages. We've got to let them know that staff did not hear what they said. They're just saying no to a program, and they're not even looking at the program that we wrote and spent so much time and effort on.
Is there, could we generate like a copy and paste type message that people could just email to the government? Yeah. I mean, to the commissioners?
We can. I don't think
and that may be
effective, but we
may be the direction we have to go, because unfortunately we know the comments. I mean, if you participated in these Terrapin webinars we had a few months ago, the overwhelming amount of participants were in favor of captive breeding. Actually, there were only like 3 animal rights activists in the first Terrapin webinar that were opposed to it. And other than that, everybody was for it. And in the second webinar, we actually live streamed it from the Calusa Herpetological Society meeting. And we had people in the room commenting on the webinar while it was going on. It was really cool. But everybody was in favor. I was kind of hoping that the Herp Society would get to see some opposition. Everybody in the webinar that FWC hosted was in favor of the program. So there is a lot of support for this, and it's just unfortunate that we don't really think they've given it a fair shake. If they had, they would be telling the commissioners what we had actually proposed, which was not in their presentation at all. And so anyways, not to harp too much on the negative, but we're still optimistic. I will tell you that the chairman of FWC, Rodney Barreto, has been texting me back and forth a little bit about it, and I give him updates every so often on what's going on. So we're very appreciative.
More than just you, Daniel.
Yeah, and we're very appreciative that he is allowing us to contact him in that way. He gave me his card, and he said to contact him. We talked after a commission meeting, and I told him I'm going to do it then, and he said do it. So I try to keep him updated on the process, and I think at times that's helped keeps staff a little bit honest. But
staff makes the rules up of whatever, like staff makes the rules and then the commissioners approve them, or okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works.
What?
They have to write the language, and then they present the language to the commission.
Okay. And do we have any connections to anybody in the staff?
Well, we talk to staff,
We talked.
but unfortunately, we don't get a lot of feedback a lot of times. Like on this Terrapin proposal, they didn't really give us any serious opinions on what they thought. We'd love to have a back and forth process. Okay, you don't like this part of it? Well, let's come up with something that will work for both sides, some kind of compromise process where we talk about it. But all that's happened so far is they took our comments and they just made a presentation just basically lambasting turtle keepers and making them all look like poachers and smugglers, which was just kind of offensive. So we're hoping that they'll take this opportunity, with the meeting being delayed now by the storm, to maybe do a better job of communicating us and with us and coming up with a better presentation. They have the opportunity now, so.
Okay. Yeah, we just got to keep bugging them.
Yeah, well, we do bug them, but we don't always get responses, so.
And
Yeah.
David, you've met some of the staff. You've met Melissa and Kristen Summers and Sarah Funk. That's the main people that are working on these programs.
Well, on non-native stuff, yeah, you had them, but yeah, you have a few other biologists that are involved with the native, native species, with like the terrapin. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, like for the last meeting that we went to, it just felt like they already had their minds made up. And no matter, huh?
We feel that way a lot.
Yeah. Have we communicated that to them? What do they say?
We have communicated that. They say that we're not accurate on that they are listening to us, but we do feel like it's fallen on deaf ears a lot.
Okay. Somebody was asking.
As you can see, Elizabeth and I kind of both bite our tongue a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be very politically correct and very nice right now.
Yeah. I'm not, direct, what's it called? I mean, I support USARK Florida, obviously, but I think we should be a little bit more combative in that sense, because I just don't feel like they listen to us at all. But I could be wrong. I don't know. That's just how I feel.
Well,
I know
not on board, you can say whatever you want to say. We have a political side. We have to
somebody was asking, how could they help USARK Florida if they don't live in the state of Florida?
We would appreciate a donation, and also you're more than welcome to email the commissioners.
Yeah, they don't know where those emails come from.
We'll get that. If we decide to do like a campaign of emailing commissioners, we'll make sure that we make that information available. That may be what we need to do. So it'll be on our social media and stuff.
Okay. Also, Daniel passed by a couple days ago, and we filmed a video, and that should be coming out soon. I don't know if we should delay that until we hear from FWC about the Terrapin thing, or should we just release it?
I think we should just do it, and we can film another one, we need to keep people updated on the issue. So when you're ready to do that, there's no rush obviously now, but when you're ready to do that, we don't have to delay. I'd like to come down there and shoot more videos. That was a lot of fun.
Okay.
I got a lot of cool videos at TikisGeckos too. So I can't wait for everybody to get to see those, but it's an amazing place you have, David. And I couldn't even believe that you said you'd just been there a year. I mean, it was a pretty big farm for a pretty big operation for just being there a year.
Thanks, Daniel. Yeah, we work here. nonstop. So
Yeah, and beautiful animals. I mean, you could just tell the care that you guys give to your animals, and everything was just in tip-top shape and stunning animals. I tell people sometimes we all have our specialties. I'm not specifically a lizard guy. It's not that I don't like them, but you learn so much from being around people who are specialized in another area than you. I'm more of a snake guy and a turtle guy. And then when you get to hang out with someone like David, who's so knowledgeable on lizards in general and geckos especially specifically, it's fun to just be there and soak up that information. And like, you let me hold a lot of stuff. I don't actually, because of what I've done, I haven't held a lot of lizards in a long time, you know, so that was just cool. And I remember one of my original complaints about lizards, though, was I always leave with cuts.
yeah,
So I still got some cuts on my hand, and I remembered one of my complaints, but it's worth it. You know, the lychees were little pinpricks, though. They were, that's what I still got the scars from.
they got a good grip.
Yeah.
So cool. They're so cool.
Yeah.
They're kind of so soft and everything on top, but they still got those claws.
Yeah, man, they hang on tight, especially the bigger ones.
I was telling David, when I was in college, I worked at a reptile store called the Reptile Shack. Our advising attorney, Kurt Harbsmeyer, was a part owner of the Reptile Shack, so I worked for him like over 20 years ago at this point. But we had this water monitor that walked the store, and she was so tame. She was unbelievably tame, and, you know, kids could pet her and poke her in the face. And I mean, we didn't try to let people be cruel to her, but she would let them get away with a lot, is what I'm trying to say. And she was just so tame. And we got in this big male, I think an import, and he never tried to bite. He was, for a big wild lizard, he was amazingly calm, but he still had those claws. And one day I was trying to get him out of the corner of the store. He'd gone behind some cages, and he just like shredded my arms up and down. And I was a music major in college, so I actually, some of my training is as an opera singer. So I had voice lessons with a serious classical voice teacher, and I came in with just my arms all shredded. And I know they just thought of me as this redneck, you know, from the sticks of Polk County, coming in here to sing in Italian and German. But she's like, "What happened to you?" And I said, "Well, you know what they say, if you're going to be stupid, you better be tough." And she just laughed and laughed at that. But we had a lot of fun because she was a birder, and I would help her identify the birds that came to her window. But I was always amusing to them as the crazy, you know, the crazy reptile guy. You know, the crocodile hunter was on TV at that time, so I was like their version of the crocodile hunter.
Oh my gosh.
That's so funny. Yeah, that's how all of us are. I feel like we get kind of used to how normal it is to us with all the different animals and species and the quantity we keep. But then we get somebody from the outside world come to our place, and we're like, "Oh yeah, this isn't normal." This is
Yeah. Sometimes you have to, like, I feel that's one of the things that I try to do is be able to communicate to, like, quote unquote normal people, because that's one reason I try not to use overly scientific terms and stuff. Even though I hang out with scientists, we don't want to go over the heads of average people, because we're trying to outreach to them and get them to appreciate what we do. So we really need to be able to communicate to the average person in an effective way.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's what social media has allowed so much of. You know, like it's just a simple little video could go viral and reach so many people, and then everybody, you know, they research that animal, they look for it, and then it's like the gateway drug to everything else. So social media is so powerful for that.
Yeah. Well, we're actually, I think we've only got 8 minutes left, and it automatically ends, if I'm not mistaken. It's 4 hours. So we started at, wait. We started at 7.
7, right? Yeah.
Oh, so we're coming up on 10 o'clock. So we're at 3 hours then. but we still got like 30-something people with us. Have any more people donated, Elizabeth?
I just saw a couple of things come up. So, yes, it looks like a few of them are donating.
Awesome. Well, we thank you so much, everybody who's donating. And I guess before I was about to pull a turtle back out, but I should show the shirts again because I see people are just joining, some people.
What up?
So we have these awesome shirts designed by Adeline Robinson, our USARK Florida Diamondback Terrapin shirts, and they come in gray or blue. So I was just for the blue, and Elizabeth insisted on the gray, and some people have definitely liked the gray too. So it worked out that you got both. But send us a Cash App there, $30 shipped, and make sure you give us your shirt size, contact info, shipping name, shipping address, phone number, and email address. And Adeline Robinson designed the shirts, and she was on here earlier with us, and she's amazing. And I told her, David, that you had her artwork hanging up on the walls in your buildings.
Nice.
So, and everybody should. She's a very talented artist. So if you guys, if you guys get a chance, go to her pages for sure, and make sure you check out her artwork.
Yeah, she's all Finley or Daytona, the big shows, so you could get some of her stuff there too. But yeah, she actually did one of our geckos. She took one of our pictures and did a crested gecko, and she sent us one. So it's hanging up. It's gonna be on the gecko house forever.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just amazing. I figured I'd bring Sweetie back out. Her boy Will is not here, but she apparently likes him better than me. But yeah, Elizabeth, you haven't gotten to go on live with the Terrapin yet, I think.
Nope.
So this is
so precious.
This is what we're fighting for, folks. And
Beautiful.
It's not just because we want to be able to keep them and breed them and sell them. I mean, we do want to keep them. I love my Terrapins, and I want to be able to be around them. But we want them to continue to exist in the world. I mean, by FWC's own projections from sea level rise, 2 of the subspecies of Terrapins in Florida, their entire range will go underwater in the next 70 to 100 years. So why would you not want to have a captive backup source of those animals when their whole range? To me, how do you even explain that? Not wanting to have more of these in captivity. And with those 2 subspecies, there aren't many in captivity. Let's see if somebody else had a question. Somebody else said, if I'm not in Florida, what can I do to help? We'd appreciate donations. I mean, you hate to just ask for money, but money is what we need to help solve our problems in some cases. We need to be able to pay attorneys and a lobbyist and all the people who help us, scientists, economists. We had an economist do a report on the reptile industry in Florida, and I think in 2018, was it?
It's
or 17?
18 is when we did the economic report, but then we also hired them again when in the middle of this lawsuit, if you remember, we had to hire them again to look at their numbers. Remember when FWC submits numbers and data, we don't want to just give our opinion of it. So we have submitted all of their information, we requested their information to the economist, and then they give a report on it too. So for a lot of different things.
Yeah, so we have a brilliant economist that's done work for us out of Washington, a big firm in Washington, D.C., Ariel Colas.
Ariel Colas, and he's out of Capital Trade. Yep.
Yeah, and I think from that one from 2018, it found that the reptile industry was it $160 million at that time?
It was $160 million at that time, but if you remember, the biggest dilemma we had is getting everybody's information. So it didn't even cover everybody in Florida at that time.
Yeah, so we really believe it's a bigger industry than even that report showed at that time. So
and it's growing day by day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and every business has employees. I mean, some of us do this by ourselves. There are backyard breeders, but there are businesses. I mean, you can't run an operation like yours, David, without having people help,
Right.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Elizabeth has a store. You have employees. So this is employing other people. This is affecting a lot of people's lives. And then there's the companies that make the products, make the food. Those all employ people. So this has a wide-reaching effect. And we also know there was recently a study that came out that said the tropical fish industry in Florida was, I think, was it 170 million or 175 million?
I think it was 175 million.
Yeah, something like that. So actually fairly similar. You know, they may be bigger than us. Both of those reports might be off by a little bit. It's hard to completely document these things, but we're kind of similar, and we're working together. We're really trying to stay together. And the mammal people, they've had struggles with FWC and maintaining their freedoms and their animals. There are a lot of people that just want to shut them down. And we've had a chance to meet some of these mammal keepers and their mammals, whether it was bears or tigers or whatever. So we've been coordinating with some of those folks, and it's hard to see. I mean, they've had people from like PETA sneak in and try to get them shut down and stuff. And when you actually see these bears and see the way they're cared for, I mean, those bears were pampered, you know, but yet there are people trying to shut them down. I don't know a better situation for those bears to live in than what they're in now. From what they've seen, they have huge enclosures. They're kept safely. They're pampered. So I think sometimes animal rights activists' hearts are in the right place, but they don't always understand the impacts of what they're asking for. And a lot of times it's harmful to the animals. So all these animal keepers in Florida, we're united and we're working together. And a lot of them are supporting USARK Florida, even if they're keepers of fish or mammals or invertebrates or birds or whatever.
Yeah, and even just reptile people outside of the state of Florida, whatever happens in Florida starts to, you know, echo across the country. So it's important that we stop whatever is happening right here on its tracks before it starts to get into the other states. And we've already seen that with the tegu bans in the Carolinas and, you know, in all these different...
And the Burmese going to Georgia.
Yeah, into Georgia. It's like, what? There's not even wild populations of tegus in some of these states, and they're just outright banning them already. So we need to like make sure, you know, this is not something that we're not putting our tinfoil hats and starting to make up theories about what we think is going to happen. It's something that's already coming into a reality. It's something that's already happening. So we're just trying to do our best to stop it. And that's why we need every cent, every donation counts, because it just helps fight that fight.
Yeah, so see that link, our new CashApp account. If you feel compelled to donate, we can always use the help. All this stuff, protecting your freedoms, it costs money, unfortunately. Yeah. And we have limited money and manpower, so the more you're able to donate, the more we're able to accomplish.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, we've also mentioned too, we are trying to be involved in conservation and education. Elizabeth and I are both very passionate about that. It's really what we want to be doing. We don't want to have to be fighting laws all the time. We'd much rather be with kids, teaching them about animals, or protecting the animals in the wild. That's a lot more fun. Thank you. Those are somebody's saying they're donating right now. Thank you so much for those of you who are donating. Absolutely. But I'm working on a gopher tortoise documentary with a filmmaker right now. We had a situation with gopher tortoises being entombed. They were bulldozed, and we got some attention for that. And actually, one of our volunteers dug out and rescued a gopher tortoise. So we're trying to do the best for the animals in the wild and in captivity. This is not about, money for us. I mean, we all have to make a living. So if you're in a business, you have to make money to feed your family. But that's not the only thing it's about. We love these animals. I mean, look at this face. How could you not love that face?
We have to. And
Yes.
guys, just remember, USARK Florida is a 501c6. So if you are a business, this is a tax write-off of your deductions. That's very important. You can write this off. You can support us and help your taxes. Look at that face.
Yeah. You see why she's sweetie, you know?
Sweetie, 100%.
So this is a Carolina terrapin, if any of you are just joining us. This is one of the 5 subspecies of terrapins in Florida. And this one just occurs in a small part of the state, kind of north of Jacksonville. So, and it goes up through the Carolinas. So it has a larger range than that. They're actually pretty common in a lot of their range. But there was a case of a trap being found in Georgia, a crab trap, and it had the remains of, I think, 90 terrapins in it that had all drowned. So what happens when a turtle goes in a trap, what I've noticed in my studies where we've done trapping studies, we believe they're actually communicating with each other. Well, we know they're communicating with each other with low-frequency communications. So a turtle's shell is like a sounding board. It's almost like a big ear. So they're actually talking to themselves in the water, and with gopher tortoises on land, they're sending these vibrations through the ground. So they can actually talk to each other, and a turtle will go in a trap, and it talks to the other turtles, and they come join it in the trap. So you'll get a trap that just loads up. Some people say the best bait for a turtle is another turtle. So you'll get these traps loaded up, and then when they die, they become like bait. So other turtles and crabs and stuff will come in to eat the carcasses. And I know this is getting gross, but this is what happens. It's like self-baiting. It continues to happen if a trap's just left out there. So that's one reason why getting the ghost traps out of the water, the traps that are just left, and having these bycatch reduction devices on traps is so important to keep the terrapins from ever going in the trap. So that's something that we're fighting for too. We think that should be required on crab traps. And we've gotten a little bit of heat on our social media pages from crabbers, and we certainly don't want any of them shut down or anything. Some of them accused us of wanting to shut their businesses down. We're all for small businesses. That's what all of us are too. But we're also not against regulation, right, Elizabeth?
Absolutely not. Against fair and good regulation, I think we do need some regulation because there are bad people out there. But that is what FWC is for. They're law enforcement. So they need to be enforcing the rules with good regulation, 100%.
Yeah, the problem is when we get unreasonable regulations or regulations that are difficult to comply with. And right now in Florida, we have such a pile of regulations that it's hard for a lot of people, unless you're a lawyer, to even understand. And to be quite honest, a lot of their inspectors don't even really understand the regulations.
Well, that's because they're wrote in gray, and I'm going to use that term. They're not black and white. There's a lot of gray to them, so they can go one way or another. And so it depends on the case whether they want to enforce something or not want to enforce it with all the gray areas.
Mm-hmm.
And the inspectors go, it can go either way.
Yeah.
We hear it all the time.
Yeah. So, we hear a lot about incidents, interactions with law enforcement and stuff. And we certainly don't want to attack law enforcement or anything, but we also don't like it when laws are interpreted in strange ways that they were never meant to be interpreted. So we kind of have to be a watchdog for that kind of thing also. And we're not going to defend somebody who's been cruel to animals or engaging in some egregious activity. That's not what we're here for, is to defend them. But when the regulators are really nitpicking on things and in our interpretation kind of trying to put people out of business, that's concerning to us.
Absolutely. Guys, my phone is about on 5%. I can't charge. So I'm going to say goodnight. Love you. Keep up the good work. I'm going to go back there and get it on charge.
All right. Well,
Elizabeth.
thank you, Elizabeth. It was good to hang out for a little while tonight.
Absolutely. Bye,
We
David.
don't get to hang out enough.
Bye.
We get to talk, but we don't hang out that much.
We've talked all day, Daniel. Don't.
I know, but now I can see your face.
Right. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Thank you. You just have to press the X. So there she goes.
She got it. She got
Oh, somebody just bought some shirts. Thank you so much.
nice.
I guess you guys can see my shirt. If you want a USARK Florida Diamondback Terrapin shirt, I promise it'll look better on you than it does on me. It's designed by Adeline Robinson. They're $30 chips. So send in your money to that CashApp. Give us your shirt size and your shipping information, name, address, phone number, email address, and we'll get that out to you. And if you just feel compelled and you can't even afford that, we would take $5, $10. You know, all of that helps in a small way. So, we're still getting people joining. Yes, they are. They're unisex. Unfortunately, maybe if we get to the point where people are asking us a lot, we could get some women specific. But yeah, right now it's just the unisex standard sizes. So David, you're like the last man standing here. That's the
Yes,
way
sir.
it was in the fundraiser the other day with Jay.
What was that?
That's the way it was in the fundraiser the other day with Jay. You were the last guy.
I come to close out the show.
Yeah. We still got people joining. There's still a bunch of people joining.
Yeah. The people come and go. But
How was your dinner?
oh, delicious.
I got to eat like 3 chicken McNuggets, and then I grabbed a turtle again. So
No, yeah, I had to eat, man. It's been all day crazy here. I've been like running around trying to get things like extra things for my shutters in case I have to put them up. And you know, us here in Florida that have animals, it's a different experience than just a regular person. So especially if you keep them outside. So, you know, we're out here trying to prep for everything. Like half my backyard is flooded. So I got to start, probably tomorrow, I'm going to start putting animals back inside and all that stuff.
yeah. Yeah, I've got to get on that too. I got to see, what's the latest track? Have you looked at the storm?
So I haven't looked since the morning, but somebody told me that it was steering off to the west coast now, and it looks like it's going to go more towards the panhandle, but obviously the outer fringes are still going to be hitting us.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't put too much stock on that because it could, just as fast as it changed that way, tomorrow we could wake up and then they say it's going to beeline straight for us. So I don't know.
What's up, guys?
Hey, we got Kayla doesn't have to worry about a hurricane.
Yeah.
I do not.
You.
Please. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. These hurricanes are a very Florida, well, all over the southeast, but it happens a couple times a year. We don't always get hit, but you have to prepare like you're gonna get hit.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can imagine, like, I've been to other places around the United States, but I've never had to endure a hurricane or any of those crazy storms you guys got down there. But I can only imagine. I mean, I have friends all over the place, especially like being in the area, and they show like them videos of filling sandbags and stacking them up and like boarding up their houses. I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't imagine like my house being threatened by, you know, an ocean of water. I would be freaking out.
Yeah.
With the last hurricane that hit us bad, Irma, my yard just became part of the river that we live on. I have around 1.5 acres, and it was almost all completely underwater. So we had to put all the cars way up the road, and we had to kayak to our cars. our dogs, we had to wade them through water, and we had to take them up on our septic tank mound to even go to the bathroom.
Oh, wow.
So, and one of my dogs freaked out and jumped off our balcony because the hurricane makes him freak out. And he like jumped under the rail of our balcony and luckily hit water. It normally wouldn't be water, but he splashed into the water.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was fine. But yeah, freaked me out. I think we're like 15 feet off the ground, our house on stilts. So, but our whole house was full of turtles. I had to bring turtles in from our ponds. I trap our ponds out. And so I'm hoping we don't have to go through that coming up. We got to watch it.
Yeah, I hope not. I didn't even know there was like a hurricane until like 2 days ago. And then I found out like a hurricane hit Puerto Rico and all this. It's like
Yeah. And they hit like Puerto Rico all the time before, like hurricanes go and hit Puerto Rico before they hit us.
Yeah.
And it's almost like everybody else in the U.S. doesn't even think about it. But like every hurricane makes sure it hits Puerto Rico before it goes wherever else it's going.
Yeah. Yeah. They're
though, like they got smashed by that whole storm.
Yeah.
Like it's just devastating, man. I am up here where I'm at.
Well, we don't want to have to deal with some of the things you deal with up there either, namely winter time.
I'll send you guys a picture of snow when I'm complaining about it in the wintertime in a few months.
Yeah.
Up to my knees.
Reptiles is asking, how can people from other states help? And basically, you could USARK Florida is gonna put out like a template that you could just copy and paste to send to these commissioners and everything. But the main thing would be to just donate, just because it just helps us directly to pay the attorney fees and all this and that. But you know, anything helps. We have the CashApp pinned over there in the comments. So if any donation helps, $1, $2, $3, $100.
So Tiki is saying, I'm just gonna call you that because it fits. You just look like your name's Tiki. I love it.
That's been my
so what he's saying is Darian Rodriguez Reptiles. So I was gonna help USARK Florida with setting up like a Google Doc or the Google Sheets like we did last time for like the Green Wave for the Lacey Act. So I think because everyone's sort of trained on how to use those sheets already, we're going to get that link tree set up. I'm going to help you set up that link tree so everything will be in USARK Florida's link in their bio. It's not set up yet, but once we do, everything will be there. But for now, like Tiki was saying, just if you can send donations, help them that way. But also you guys can follow USARK Florida, turn on their notification bells, and send out or share out their posts. Like take the time to sit down and read what Daniel posts on these pictures that he posts, because it's so important to get educate yourself. You know, reach out, try to understand. You can message Daniel if you're confused on something. I'm sure he's going to be able to explain it to you. Most definitely he'll be able to explain it to you. But make sure you guys reach out and understand what's going on around you. I'm all the way up here in Michigan and I'm getting involved, and I just hope everyone else sort of understands what Florida is going through right now. It's a lot, and the last thing we need is our friends and family that live in Florida, you know, get affected by all these laws that they're trying to implement, what FWC is trying to do. You know, we just have to stand the line together and be at that line with Florida, the people of Florida, the keepers of Florida, because it's one team, one fight. That's my slogan. I love it. It works for everything. And we all have to stand together and let them know that Florida, yes, you're a part of the U.S. We love you, Florida, and we're going to fight for Florida. So that's going to be my 2 cents. So again, guys, please share out what USARK Florida is sharing on their page. Take time to read it. Because again, you know, if it's not necessarily affecting you right now, who says that in a year it could affect you in your own state? So just keep that in mind.
And I know not all the material we have on our social media is exciting all the time. It's tough to compete with, like, you know, cool guys wrangling crocodiles and stuff all the time. I mean, I love to do all that stuff too, but we have to dig into like some nitty gritty and sometimes it's kind of boring stuff, but it's dangerous stuff. And sometimes the most dangerous things can be wrapped in very boring packages. So I know not everything we post is like classic Instagram material, but if you read those descriptions and stuff, you will be informed on what's going on. So that's what our mission is. We have to inform, and we'd love to play with animals and all of that stuff too. I wish I could do a lot more of that now, but we also have to dig in on all this really serious stuff that's going to affect you and all the keepers out there. This is all for you. So yeah, we have to be united. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's super important. I mean, like, look what, you know, USARK National did with everything, and the support was overwhelming by this community at the federal level by taking out the Lacey Act out of the American Competes Act of 2022 was dire to happen. Because again,
if I can plug USARK Florida again a little bit on that too, we were very involved in that, and it was actually our Senator Marco Rubio who sponsored that amendment. So even that was coming out of Florida. You want to talk about how Florida affects the rest of the country? That was our senator, and it was supported by our other senator, Rick Scott. So this stuff's coming out of Florida, and we work hand in hand with USARK National and Phil Goss continuously every single day. And on that Lacey Act thing, we were as into that and involved as anybody else. We have to be. And Phil kept reminding us, well, just remember, if this thing passes, you won't have anywhere to ship animals to, those of you in Florida, if you don't think it matters here. So we know we're all interconnected and it all matters.
Yeah, we just have a comment right now from Lizard Morphs. It says, I'm a USARK member who lives in Australia. And
wow,
you know, he's that kind of support just leaves me speechless, because there's so many people here in the States that for whatever reason they don't want to support USARK, or they don't think USARK is doing enough, or this, that, and the other. And there's people outside of our own country that are willing to support us. So that's awesome.
Luke is his name. He's a friend of mine. He's Lizard Morphs. A big supporter of USARK. Anything that I've done to help, he's always been there as well, even though he's on the other side of the world. When I was putting like sticker packs together, I put his together, and I even gave him a USARK Florida sticker that I got from Tinley. And I'm just so thankful that even people that are, you know, seeing what we're dealing with over here are taking 5 seconds to even like posts, to come on like this and things like that, stop what he's doing. Like, that is phenomenal. That is phenomenal.
Yeah, and you know, at Animal Con, Dingo came up and like hugged me and said, USARK Florida, I love what you guys are doing. And it's like, you know what we're doing? You know, he's like, even from South Africa. You know, he ended up filming a video with us, and I haven't even posted it yet. But we've been there's been so much stuff. We have tons of videos like backlogged right now. But that was so cool just to hear him say, like, out of the blue, USARK Florida, I love you guys. I'm not even going to attempt his accent. It's really cool, and I will butcher it. But
Fry1287, he is also from Australia. I remember this. During Jay's 24-hour live, I don't know if you guys saw any of that segment of it, but he put up, like, I don't know, 15 things of supplements and donated whoever on it, and they were having on all the supplements, and he sent that over he covered everything and sent it over, and all that money to USARK Florida for that Jay's 24-hour live. His name is Fry1287. Another awesome guy from Australia. Awesome guy.
Yeah, I saw some of that. That was when I was kind of fading, trying to stay with Jay and fading to sleep. But
hours.
yeah, that was amazing. Thank you so much. Support from Australia is amazing. You're out of the cone too in Australia. So
right.
Anyways, that's the cone. I just looked up the latest track, or at least that's the latest one posted. So it looks like it's trending more towards the Panhandle. So if you guys are up there, take care in the Panhandle. I mean, I'm still in the cone, so you know how these things go. Florida hurricane watchers, we know, like, these tracks can shift. They never go exactly where they say they're going to go. So you're in the cone. So everybody, make sure you batten down the hatches and make sure your animals are safe. I know in some of the previous hurricanes we've had, I think it was Irma too, somebody was talking about like animals drowning in the bottom cages of their racks and stuff when it flooded. So try to really anticipate that. If you've never been through a hurricane before, take it seriously. Even if the wind doesn't blow your house away, flooding, trees can fall on things. A tree fell on my house during the storm too. So we had a tree fell on the house. We got the tree removed, and that's when the river came up and flooded after the hurricane. So you just have to think about all these things.
Yeah, and electricity too. If you lose power for a week or two, you know, like a lot of, like especially my animals, the New Caledonian geckos and stuff, a lot of them can't handle the heat. So you gotta make sure you have a generator with some ACs or something.
I've never gotten a generator, but of course I've lost a freezer full of rodents in 3 different hurricanes. Like, of course, I got rodents in right before the hurricane, so I had like the fullest freezer, and I think I've lost like $1,000 worth of rodents 3 different times. So yeah, think about all these things if you're planning for the storm, guys. It's hurricane veterans from Florida can attest. It's nothing to play around with. And even if you don't think it's going to blow your house away, that's not most of the complications that happen from these storms.
Yeah, typically it's just random things happen. Trees falling, you know, you got to make sure your car is nowhere that it can be hit. Obviously, if outdoor animals, you got to get them all inside. If the enclosures are not safe, hurricane proof, you better make sure you put them inside. It's just a lot of work at this time for us.
Are you
go ahead.
North Florida or like South Florida, Tiki?
I'm South Florida.
You're where?
In West Palm.
He's like,
oh, okay. Yeah.
If I can, so let's see if I can. David's kind of it's moving on me. This isn't the best map to show you. David's like right over here, and I'm like up here. Well, I'll get you a map that's not moving, but it takes me about 4 hours to get to David's house, so we're not close, and I'm about an hour from where Elizabeth is. So yeah, we're all kind of spread out all over. There's reptile people everywhere.
And I'm in the complete opposite north direction of you. Same time zone, just way the highest you can get.
Yep.
Michigan.
Yeah, so like there's Florida. I'm looking at this backwards. David's kind of like right in there.
Yeah.
Or maybe, right in there. And I'm like up here area.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And Elizabeth's like right in the middle, like right here.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So you guys are all spread, but it looks like that storm is just coming full force at all of you.
Yeah, well, you can see we call these the spaghetti models.
Okay, so here's where I'm from.
Yeah. You get to be a meteorologist living here in Florida. You know, what's the spaghetti doing right now? So, yeah, we don't, and even though you analyze these things and you don't know, you just, if you watch the Weather Channel, you try to pay attention to wherever they put Jim Cantori, and that's That's like their big hurricane guy. He's their star, and you fear the most if he comes to your town. So
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah.
He's like, oh no. Like when you see him, you're like, oh no, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah. But even he doesn't always know where they're going. So these things throw people for a loop.
That's interesting though, coming from up here, because we.
You know, talking about hurricanes and like relating that to turtle conservation, the last 3 years, tons of hurricanes have hit the Gulf Coast, Louisiana. The Panhandle to Louisiana has been a popular track lately, and those rivers have flooded every single year. There are certain rivers that friends of mine who are biologists that do surveys for baby turtles, they've found no baby turtles in the past 3 years because the rivers flood and they flood all the nesting sites. So the babies don't hatch. So, you know, you think of these things as hurricanes are generally increasing. They're becoming more frequent, but you think about that and it's like you always assume turtles are going to be there if the river's there. Well, if the turtle nests get flooded out every single year, or even not if it's every single year, but if that happens half the time, over time, that's going to have a big impact on the populations.
Yeah.
So these are scary things. Just because a river stays intact and there's turtles there doesn't mean they'll always be there.
Yeah.
That is true.
It's especially the map turtles that are in these rivers, which are related. They're closely related to the Diamondback Terrapins.
I have a Mississippi map turtle, or what?
Yeah.
Mississippi map.
Yeah, but that's like the most common species of map turtle in the trade. Yeah, they're great turtles. They have a fairly wide range. I've seen Mississippi maps in western Louisiana that have black eyes. There's like a special population there that has completely solid black eyes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mine has white eyes.
Yeah, yours probably has the white with the little dot in the center. Yeah.
Eye. Yeah.
Yeah, so some of these have solid black eyes. They're really cool looking turtles.
Huh.
Yeah, and you said that there's the terrapins are mostly in brackish water or salt water, even here in Florida, right?
Yes, that's true, and they can even live in like hypersaline water. So in some places in the Keys, they're in like little lagoons on the interior of the islands, and because of evaporation, those become hypersaline, so they're even saltier than the ocean. And there's terrapins in there, so they drink water off the surface. Rainwater that hits the surface of the water, it'll form in a freshwater layer on top of the water, and they'll drink that when they can. So they have all sorts of cool adaptations to living in salt water. I've even seen turtles in salt marshes, when it rained, come out of the water and drink out of like leaves and stuff on land. Yeah, so really interesting. I saw a mud turtle drinking out of a box turtle shell that was upside down, and it was collecting water, and this mud turtle came out of the salt marsh where terrapins live. We actually have some mud turtles in some of those areas, and it was drinking out of a turtle shell.
That's cool.
Oh, that's
wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan,
I'll bring the ornate terrapin back out here
Dan,
for you guys to see.
Before I forget, have you reached out to Garden State turtles or tortoises? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, Chris Leone. Yeah, we haven't quite been able to hook up on all this stuff just through happenstance. But yeah, he does some great things. So
he'd be a good person to maybe hop on one of these lives or get a little clip of, because he has a lot of his followers, really like the terrapins.
Yeah, well, we did try to bring him on tonight, but I guess he wasn't able.
Okay.
But I did. Yeah, I went on the Pondcast, which he goes on. But he wasn't able to be there that night either, so we've just kind of missed each other along the way. But yeah, I'd love to have him involved with all the work that he's done.
Yeah.
for sure. And he deals a lot with Terrapins up in New Jersey.
Yeah. A couple videos of him and his wife doing rescues and stuff, I think.
Yep.
He'd be great to have on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We'd love to have him. He's also a musician too, like me. So yeah, he has a band, I think, and he's a guitar player. So
nice. Yeah. So if anybody watching knows him personally, reach out to him and just mention it to him, because I think a lot of his followers would definitely want to be informed on what's going on here in Florida with the Terrapins and how we're pushing for these breeding programs. And I'm sure he has a lot of influence on that side of the reptile hobby,
Yeah, we also had
Kenan.
Well, yeah, we had Kenan earlier, but we had Anthony Perleone in the chat, I think, earlier. But I was hoping to get him on, but he kind of disappeared. So
yeah, I tried to message or comments, wasn't getting anything.
yeah, well,
it's okay.
It's all right. We've had a lot of people, and we appreciate everybody that has come on. If you're just joining us, we're talking about Terrapins and anything else, hurricanes, food, donating to USARK Florida. So we're just hanging out here. But I noticed somebody said in the comments, David. So David, you're a turtle guy now.
Not quite.
He does have some turtles, though. David has turtles. I was over there and I saw turtles. So
yeah, so we keep some turtles, some redfoots, some sulcatas, but I'm a lizard guy. So I like
everybody needs a few turtles around at least, though.
A good friend of mine that lives around the corner here from me does a lot of turtles as well. So every time I go over his house, I'm just like geeking out with his turtles and stuff. It's a good time.
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to meet him sometime.
Yeah.
For sure.
If you guys are just joining us, what I have here is an ornate Diamondback Terrapin. These are endemic to Florida. That means they're found only in Florida, nowhere else in the world. And this is one of the most valuable turtles in the trade. The average value of these going into Hong Kong in a recent study was $2,600. So, prices are always fluctuating a little bit. So but that was in this study, that was the average price. And when we did a study in 2015, the average price that I could document, posted price, was $1,400. So the price went up from there. And you can see why these are popular turtles. They have that beautiful, beautiful head. This guy is called Bug. He's got spots all over his head. There are some ornate terrapins, like the one on the cover of our proposal, that have almost no spots on their head. This one is also what we call a flowerback phase. You can see how that's different. This one has almost no color, which is unusual on the carapace there. But these turtles are found from the southwest coast of Florida, like Collier County, all the way north to the Panhandle, about midway across the Panhandle. I have these in my county that I live in, and I see them when I go over to the coast. A lot of times I'll see 5 per day or something. I mean, they're not rare, but a lot of times you see them out in the water. They'll pop their head up, and it looks like a marshmallow floating on the surface of the water. So we call them marshmallows. Like, oh, I saw a marshmallow. And, most of the time they're not in like a situation where you could even catch them or anything. They just kind of pop their head up and you see them at a distance. But I do see them a lot nesting, and you see them crossing the road a lot. And unfortunately, they do get hit by cars. The females a lot of times will nest on the roadside, so their eggs seem to hatch and the babies end up wandering into traffic, or they nest in people's yards a lot. Because it makes sense if you think about it. If you just have with a lot of our habitat destruction, if you just have salt marsh and all the land is houses and development, they got to nest somewhere. So they're going to go along the road or they're going to go in people's yards.
Yeah.
They do struggle to get up seawalls. So that's something I've advocated for, actually having rocky riprap, like chunks of rock for a wall rather than just a straight concrete seawall. That way the turtles can crawl out of the water easier. And it's also good habitat for snakes, which I see these in the same areas as king snakes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Kayla, did we ever figure out how I can show those photos here?
On your screen, because I'm not running it, because it worked when we did it.
Yeah.
Strange. On the side,
I just don't.
On the side of your page, it should have like a little photograph like icon. Is it not there?
I don't see it.
It'd be like on the right or the left side.
Oh. Whoops. No.
That's weird because the profile I tested it on was a private page, so I wonder if that has to do with it. Oh, now you got filters on.
Scrolling through filters.
Crazy now.
Getting crazy.
That's so fun.
What up?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that was just because it was a private page. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's all right. I've got some cool photos. Somebody took a photo of a king snake wrapped around a female terrapin that was nesting. And the king snakes eat turtle eggs a lot. So they're a big predator of terrapin eggs. I actually saw a king snake following a box turtle in a hammock before. And it was about 10 feet behind it. And it was a male box turtle. I don't know if the king snake knew that. But it was definitely like following the turtle. So they're definitely keyed in on eating turtle eggs.
Yeah. A lot of predators.
Probably the biggest nest predator is raccoons.
Yeah.
And raccoons are they're what we call subsidized predators, which means
we call them garbage pandas. But
Yeah. Well, there's that too. I'm using the scientific term. Yeah. So, but they're subsidized by humans, so they're unnaturally common. So we have more raccoons now than we would have had naturally, and that's due to the absence of natural predators. And historically in Florida, we had panthers all over. We had red wolves. The red wolf is virtually extinct. It only lives in 2 places in the wild, in Lake Matamesquite National Wildlife Refuge in North Carolina and in St. Vincent National Wildlife Refuge, which is an island in Florida. So that was a predator that was all over that probably ate raccoons and possums. Those are big predators too. Now in the Everglades, actually the raccoon population has had a big dent put in it by Burmese pythons. And we do know that has benefited American crocodiles. There were certain places where almost 100% of the eggs of crocodiles were getting eaten by raccoons. And now the nests are actually hatching because the pythons have put a big dent in the raccoons. Wow. And it's no doubt helping turtles too, because we know raccoons eat most turtle eggs.
Right.
And a lot of just turtles themselves.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, and that's in scientific papers. It's funny, we posted that on some of our USARK Florida social media, and people were like calling us out for misinformation or propaganda. That was a scientific paper that said that. It was a paper on crocodiles.
Yeah.
You have to take the science, not all of it's good or bad. It's science. It's supposed to tell you the truth. That's the whole point of it. So... Are you getting sleepy, David?
A little bit.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the time almost. I told you were due 4 hours.
We got 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Are we going to go the whole time? Are we going to take it all the way to the end?
We might as well. We got 20.
Is that the goal?
We got 20 minutes left. We might as well.
You guys watching, do you have any questions specifically about terrapins?
So I do want to ask you something though. So maybe somebody that's watching is not sure of. If you're in Florida and you want a terrapin, how does that work, Daniel?
Well,
Or
right now,
already.
right now it's tough. They banned terrapins,
Right.
and I had to.
You could keep the ones you have.
I had to get a permit for the ones that I had. I got a permit for education, but the pet permits they will not issue anymore. You can still probably get a permit if you use them for education. So I think that's the only way they're issuing permits right now.
Prove education?
Hmm?
Do you have to like prove to them that it's for education or?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know with the terrapin permit. I have permits for gopher tortoises and alligator snapper, and they are making you prove that you're using them for education.
Could you show them live or something you do, or you in front of a group of people?
Yeah, like pictures. They want to see pictures and actual, documentation of when you did education. It was tough for me because we stopped doing programs in COVID.
Right.
And then we got our permit right near the beginning of COVID. And then we used to do programs at Repticon shows, and they stopped having educational programs there because of COVID. They kind of changed the way they did their educational seminars, and we stopped doing them at schools. So we had a long period there where we didn't do any programs.
Right, and that's like such a hard time because it's like, oh yes, I need this for this, but house.
Yeah. So somebody was asking who's FWC's terrapin expert in the comments. So they brought in. I'm trying to be very diplomatic about this.
Mm-hmm.
They brought in a turtle expert, and he's very well respected. It's Dr. Brian Horn. He is not a terrapin specialist. The people on their staff that know the most about terrapins were not actually involved in this process. And I can tell you some of the people were for our proposal. But they can't say that publicly.
Right.
So
it makes sense.
The people... It bugged me a little bit because one of the articles recently, it had Will Nace's picture in it, but it said that FWC's experts disagreed with us. We had experts that are terrapin specialists that were for the breeding program, and nobody involved in the process on staff with FWC was a terrapin expert that I know of. And the expert that they brought in, he is definitely a respected turtle expert, but not known for his work with terrapins. So
is the proposal that USARK Florida you guys are sending to them should give them all the details, exactly everything about the Diamondback terrapin, so they can reevaluate their statement?
Well, we gave them this proposal back in the spring, so they've had it for months and months. Mm-hmm. They have not responded to us on any of the details of the proposal. We consulted scientists and an economist in the creation of this proposal.
Yeah.
They have given us no specific feedback about the proposal, and this presentation they were going to give at the upcoming FWC meeting that just got canceled because of the hurricane. Was their response to our proposal. And they mentioned our proposal one time in 60 slides of a PowerPoint presentation. They mentioned our proposal on one slide, and they didn't mention any details from our proposal. Like, they didn't even say what we asked for. The most of what their presentation was geared toward was how horrible the worldwide turtle trade is and instances of cruelty, examples of cruelty and animals dying and being poached. And we agree there are animals out there being poached. That was why we put this together. But to insinuate that we are part of that problem was kind of offensive, honestly.
Absolutely. The line, and then there's crossing the line and trying to flip something that's actually positive, something that's not what they're seeing. Must have like those drunk on, and then you should put some clear ones on and see the full picture of actually what's going on. And the proposal looks phenomenal, by the way. I think it'll be something that they may not, necessarily comment on right away, which sounds like that's what's been happening. But maybe they need some more with this meeting
Well,
being canceled. They sit back
they
and take
have another chance. They have another chance now. So somebody just asked in the comments, is Bradley there? I think they're talking about Brad O'Hanlon. He's their reptile and amphibian coordinator. And yes, he was involved in this process, and I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, they've had this proposal for a long time, and they haven't given us any feedback. So we're going to have to make an effort to go directly to the commissioners and kind of go over their heads into the media in any way we can. I got 2 news interviews lined up for Monday. We're going to go on TV news if it's not derailed by the hurricane. These things always, sometimes they totally shift their coverage. So
Now,
that
when
could change.
When you have these meetings, me being all the way to Michigan, that the link in your bio to your meetings is where we'd be able to, right?
Says what?
The link in your bio that you guys broadcast the public meetings that other people around the U.S. Attend.
It was kind of cutting out, or I think David might have made some noise that I couldn't hear you. You were saying something. Go ahead.
The meetings that you guys have, the public meetings that you guys have, those are broadcast for everyone to see around the United States, and that can be found in the link in your bio on Instagram, right?
It depends on what kind of meeting it is. We've done all different kinds of meetings. We did a public information meeting in South Florida the other day. We did not stream that or anything. It was kind of meant to be for the people who were willing to show up and have a conversation.
Yeah.
But we've done other things, and we want to do it more. We want to stream, but the FWC commission meetings are on the Florida channel, and we always post that link. It's all televised anywhere you can get it, but we may also live stream that too in the future. We'll have to see. We haven't done that yet, but a lot of people follow those meetings and comment live. We've seen it a lot. People are giving us feedback as it's happening. Usually not positive in the last few meetings because not much good has happened for reptile keepers.
That's why I was just wondering, so like everyone can have like sort of an idea of how they can, be a part of it a little more and see how they can support, you guys a little more from around the U.S. or around the world.
Yeah, well, we're going to continue to do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think we're reaching more people this way than our in-person meetings anyway. We've tried all different things. We've done a lot of in-person meetings that people can go to, and we've had them all over the state now. And we also have had meetings with other animal industries like the mammal keepers, the fish keepers, where we invite all of the animal keepers. We had our Florida Animal Keepers United meeting. So all that's been posted all over our social media. And we did a Zoom meeting to try to make it accessible to people to join in online. But, we've probably reached more people tonight than any of those meetings.
That's always maybe like if you have those public meetings where you can stream, it would be maybe even be useful just to have the Instagram live going.
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree.
It depends on what kind of meeting.
Of course, yeah.
There are certain things that we want to make person-to-person connections with people. There was kind of a reason why some of these have not been streamed, and the board members have had different opinions on that at times. So I'll just say there are different opinions. I'm more in the camp of publicizing anything. That's what I do. I'm in the business of publicity, but
I need more
you know,
support. If
yeah,
it's
we have conversations about this for sure.
yeah, I just think that it would be, easily accessible to the reptile community this way. But anyway, even if you guys have like a separate streaming thing that you guys use, we can always put that link in the bio too. When we get that up and running, you just have to
Hmm.
upload free that day or whatever. So there's plenty of options. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll definitely keep it going, and we're exploring every avenue to connect with people everywhere. So, yeah, and I just saw a comment, "We support you from Australia" or something like that. I love that. I
And
can't
New
tell you
Zealand.
enough
Yeah.
how much that means to us. I'll show you for anybody who might have just joined, the USARK Florida Terrapin shirts. We have these available right now. They're $30 shipped. It helps support our organization and protecting the freedoms of reptile keepers here in Florida. And this is a design by Adeline Robinson. That's the blue one. We have a gray. They're T-shirts. Send us a Cash App, $30. Put your name, shipping address, phone number, email, and what shirt size you wear. And we'd love to get these out to everybody so people can proudly wear their USARK Florida shirts.
In the Cash App, you can't put so many characters. So make sure you put your Instagram name in the Cash App description and send Daniel a DM on Instagram, the USARK Florida page. Let them know your name, your address, the money you sent on Cash App, how much, and your shirt sizes and the color, of course. I did it already. I can't wait to get my USARK Florida shirts.
Yes.
So that's like Cash App only allows you to type like a sentence, like half a sentence. So make sure you DM it to him as well so he can match your name with your Instagram name and everything, relates.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, everybody. And if you feel so compelled to just donate and you're not even interested in a shirt, we definitely will take your donations for anything. It's down there. David's helped us a lot. He designed a shirt too that's coming out soon. Are you able to show us that shirt again, David? Is that handy or?
Yeah, I could grab it. Well, I didn't design it. I actually had a buddy of mine design it, and he sent it to me. And then he just gave told me I could donate it to you guys. So let me show you guys the shirt. Yeah, hold on. So
awesome.
It's USARK Florida, and then we have the American alligator, a red belly, and a green anole with the Florida.
That's excellent.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's even better in person.
I can't wait to get those two. Yeah. I saw them in person the other day. They look great.
Yeah. So hopefully by the end of this year, I'll work something out so I could print a bunch, and then I don't know if I'll sell them on my website or if I'll just give them to Elizabeth. I'm not sure about that yet.
We'll get something hooked up. We're getting our system in place, our infrastructure. We had a conversation earlier. Like I said, we set up the Cash App. David is part of the impetus for that. I've been telling her this, but David pushed her over the edge the other day. It's like, you got to do this. So by popular demand, we have the Cash App, so you can easily donate. And we've got somebody who's volunteered to help us with shipping, who's right near Elizabeth, because she's like, I can't be running these shirts back and forth to the post office while she's running her 8 businesses or whatever it is, So we've got somebody right near her in Lakeland who's helping us ship. So we're getting our whole infrastructure in place to make this happen. So
That is awesome. But the live is going to end here in a shoot.
Oh, yeah, here we are. We're coming up on the end. Well, man, Kayla, I can't thank you enough for helping me. And we were right here yesterday till both of our phones went dead, I think, just getting all this figured out. But I'm still kind of a newbie at the Instagram live stuff. So thank you for everybody who's participated. I'm not a newbie at talking, though, as you can tell. You can't shut me up. So
Did great.
This 4 hours has flown by.
I told you it's easy to do 4 hours.
Like a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and thank you, David. David supports us, TikisGeckos. Just incredible support all the time. And we got to hang out the other day, and it was a lot of fun. And, man, buy animals from David. He's got beautiful stuff. If you're into geckos, I know you are buying. I don't have to tell you this because I saw the pile of boxes going out. So I know people love your animals, but you definitely should get stuff from David.
Are you going to Tinley?
Yeah, I'm not vending. I'm just gonna go hang out. So
Me too. I'm not vending, but I'll be around. So we'll definitely link up for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we'll see. I'd love to join you guys up there. I try to be there when I can. So
I want Miss Boss Elizabeth to let Daniel come to
yeah. It's tough for Elizabeth right now because I don't know if you, well, I'm just going to tell you guys, all 24 of you here, Elizabeth's literally driving the bus right now for the daycare. She has a commercial driver's license. So that's our president doing everything, making it all happen. So it's tough for her to get away for weekdays or anything right now till she finds another bus driver. So, yeah, but I'd love to. It'd be great to get Elizabeth up there. I'm not sure if it'll happen for this one, but yeah, maybe I'll be able to get up there.
Absolutely. It would be great to see you guys. This has been absolutely phenomenal. I'm glad I could help in any way I can. You guys know I'm here. If there's any more I can do, I'm an open book for sure.
Awesome. Well, you volunteered, so I'm using you. So thank you so much.
I'll teach you whatever I know.
Yeah. Well, we're 10:59, so last chance. Well, it's not your last chance, but there's our Terrapin shirts. $30 Cash App below. And thank you guys so much for your support. We couldn't do it without you. It's still going. It's 11. It didn't just kick me off.
You were a few minutes late, so it'll kick off eventually.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did come in a little late there. Yeah, so I'm waiting to turn into a pumpkin here.
I know, right? But I'm going to close out. I appreciate you guys so much. Daniel, you call me whenever. Tiki, it's nice to see you. See you at Tinley.
Nice.
Love you guys. What you're doing.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody who supported USARK. Hit that bell icon so you'll get notifications. And share our social media. It helps us so much. It's been great to see everybody. Thank you so much. And we'll be in touch. All right.
Good night.